Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday today. Hooray! And yeah, we're doing the REL 1 and 2A div review on Friday instead of Wednesday because I literally forgot it was Wednesday. Like, I went to bed, like, this whole quarantine thing has me all mixed up. I went to bed on Wednesday night, and at, like, midnight, was like, well, I'll be doing the div review tomorrow, and then realized it was, like, Wednesday had passed, and it wasn't Tuesday. Like, I thought it was Tuesday, and it was Wednesday. So, I missed it. And I was busy last night, so we're getting it done tonight, and by we, I mean me and Mr. T.S. Elfiot.
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
Because Shadorra is unable to do it, you know, kind of on my own fault for forgetting that it was Wednesday. Like, I can't blame him for not being available on a different day than we normally do things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole, like, yeah, I'm just, like, I'm working from home, so, like, my days are, like, roll out of bed, walk over to the kitchen table, like, work for a while on my work laptop, and then, like, walk to my office, and then sit down at my other computer and start doing fun things on the fun computer instead of the work computer. And
fun things like Imperium all the time.
I know, right? I figured I signed up for another one recently. I signed up for both the Lineman Imperium tournament and just a regular tournament. I was like, I actually have time to fit a couple more of these things in. Like, I'm not really walking anywhere anymore. I don't go anywhere. Everything is canceled. Like, you can just sit here and do Imperium stuff. But it also means that I'm slowly going crazy and forgetting what day it is, and like wearing the same pajamas for like 4 days in a row. Like, it's a bad scene. It's like, I literally forgot what day it was. I hope things are better for other people out there, or, you know, things are pretty good for me, frankly. Like, I'm lucky enough that I can work from home, and not everybody can. So I hope everybody's doing well and is safe out there. Hope you are too, T-Self.
Yeah, everything is great here. I'm still in my same routine, unfortunately, because I was pretty much working from home all semester.
Oh, so that's fair.
Nothing's really changed for me other than not being allowed to leave when I wasn't leaving, mostly anyways. I think I had like a few research meetings every so often where I had to go into class, like actually drive myself over to school and talk to people, but now we do it online.
Hooray! So. Yeah, my work, like, 2 weeks ago was just like, everybody go home, we're closing the offices, you're not allowed to come in, stay at home and work from home, figure it out. Okay. Although, to be fair, I work for like a medical company that makes respiratory devices, so like it would look pretty bad if they didn't take the respiratory disease seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So this is week 11. I probably titled it wrong because I always title it wrong. Nope, I titled it correctly. Well done, me. So that means this week we're going to be taking a look at matches. And the first one we're going to be looking at is in REL 1, and that is going to be between Travel Scrabble and the RedJoker. Are you ready to get into it?
Yeah, I'm right at the beginning of the game, so whenever you want to hit start,
sure, I'll go into the game. The reason why we picked this one is because, you know, both RedJoker is kind of chasing a playoff spot, Travel Scrabble is in a playoff spot. I think, frankly, the most important game for playoff implications this week was me versus Mongoose. Just because of the, like, if he lost, he was kind of on the bottom of the playoff list, so if he lost that one, it would have been a big deal. But I don't want to watch my own game because that's boring. If you want to watch that game, go to my VODs and watch the VOD. So are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, play. We've got RedJoker and Travel Scrabble. I'm not going to rewatch my own game. It's so boring. Travel Scrabble has a wizard. His strategy of not buying the Flesh Golem all season just to make sure he gets a wizard against the big Nurgle teams, still paying off for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an idea, right? Flesh Golems are expensive as rookies. They don't really do that much until you get them their skill.
And he didn't want to give away a wizard against the elf teams. And he wanted to be able to get one against the big Nurgle teams because he can take advantage of it with Muttley the Third there.
So, Muttley the Third.
Yeah, and like a rookie Flesh Golem is just going to be a liability versus Nurgle teams, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to get claw-palmed.
Yep. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
It's not mobile. Can't really do anything else.
Raining, not like Muttley really cares. But the Nurgle do. Although he has extra arms, so now it's just kind of like a normal thing. Toawesome has been streaming some Imperium stuff too recently, if I recall correctly. Imperium is a really good time. Everybody should spend more time doing it now that you're stuck at home forever.
Yeah, I've certainly been noticing that it's been on an uptick. I've been
it's fun and it's easy to do.
Like 3 to 4 comps at a time.
Well, Beast making a good start with a really stupid there. We don't get any removals on any of the zombies, which is unfortunate for the RedJoker. I mean, he's got 4 Claw Palm hits a turn, or 4 Claw Mighty Blow hits a turn, like, generally. So not getting anything out of the 4 of them so far is unfortunate. Never mind, there's one.
Zombies. There's one. First one.
That's true, but like, yeah, they're just zombies. They don't really matter, but Necro and Undead have this thing where like, it just, if you lose a positional, it just feels like you lose so much because the zombies are slow.
Yeah.
So if you need to use the zombies to protect the positionals, especially when you're missing one and not having a flesh golem, or
Rain making a difference,
or a ghoul on the field for that matter. So like the zombies are kind of important here, so having them removed would be a big deal. Well, there's a rotter down. Speaking of zombies, I kind of like this. It's the thing you're scared of is the sort of Nurgle just killing you. So we can ideally get some zombies in the way, and then we just put Muttley Jr. and Muttley the Third in range of the ball. Like, you don't need to commit super hard, but you can be like, if you fail that pickup again, I'm probably gonna score.
It's a really scary place too, because the ball's on the sideline. So
yeah. So the Nurgle are
and
probably...
even if he does pick it up, that it's a Pestigore. They're not exactly the fastest players in the world. So, and his Nurgle warriors are quite far up on the pitch because they did move forwards on the line of scrimmage. So,
sorry, I meant playing Imperium. I just was talking about streaming. I don't know why I had streaming in mind. But yeah, it's a little scary. The Nurgle are going to want to bring back players in the way just in case something happens, and then they're not hitting stuff. This could, if this is a failed pickup here, things could be really bad for the Nurgle right now. It's a 1 in 9, but 1 in 9s are scary, man.
yeah, they really are. When they're on the sideline, like if it's just in the back and it doesn't matter, then they're not as scary. But
reroll down. Not that it matters too much because he's got sure hands for this pickup. That's not really in the way. Like this, if you fail this pickup, okay, we're good. But like, Muttley Jr. is just in range. That Gishmogors is not really doing much to stop you from getting to where the ball was. He is stopping you from getting easily to the ball carrier, but you can still run around. Well, some GFIs now, I think.
either GFIs or cutting corners, maybe.
Looks like
You
we're
just have
marking
Agi
him.
5.
I think we're just marking him, and then we're going to use the Agi 5 as a 2-die.
The Agi 5 has leap too, I forgot.
It's such a stupid wolf. And I've said this from the start for this team. As long as that wolf like exists and is on the field, pretty much any bash team is just going to lose.
Yeah.
Then Nurgle, I've played Travel Scrabble a couple times. The one time I won is when I got Muttley the Third off the field very early and kept him off. Every other time, that wolf can just do what he wants when he wants, and Nurgle are either too slow or not agile enough to do anything about it.
That was kind of random.
For reference, by the way,
good old zombie.
I predicted that Travel Scrabble would win this, and you filling in for Shadorra predicted that the RedJoker would win this, by the way.
Seems like I have bad taste.
Maybe actually there were 2 Necro versus Nurgle matchups this week, and I don't know which one. Like, Shadorra just typed me up the predictions earlier because normally he keeps track of them, but since he's not here, he sent them to me. And he typed up Nurgle versus Necro twice instead of what the team names were, so I don't know which match that is. I assume
Classic Shadorra.
Yeah, I assume they're in order, according to what they were on the website.
On the schedule. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yes, so if this is the one I think it is, and that I predicted the Necro and Shadorra predicted the Nurgle, that's a failed dodge.
That is very bad. It's going to use another reroll.
I mean, that's just a touchdown for the Necro. This is a 2+2+.
2+2.
It's a 2+2+2+, because then he needs a GFI as well, right? Or
It depends if he can take down the wrestler first, because of wolf.
That's true, yeah. We can just punch the wrestler and see what happens.
Though I think it's a 1 die at first, so maybe not. There's guard.
Yeah, I mean, I think you might just roll the 2+, and then decide whether you want to cut the corner or not, depending on if you had to use dodge. I guess it doesn't matter. Here we go. Wolf scores. Easy.
Easy.
That wolf is disgusting, and their rain made it difficult for the Nurgle, but...
Yeah, I mean, the rain actually made a big difference, because the very first fail pickup wouldn't have been a fail if it was normal weather.
I feel like he should have done a bit more to protect the ball, given that the rain was a thing. Like,
given that it was rainy and it was so deep, yeah.
Yeah, I know it really sucks, because you want to get as many hits on those zombies as possible. But I think almost with like a super deep kick and the rain, you need to just be like, all right, we're going to take the LOS hits, and then everybody else is just backing up. And we're
One of his claws stays out. That's going to be pretty big for this drive here.
We still get 3 on the 3 Claw Mighty Blow on the LOS, because the Nurgle Warriors are really good, but... That kick zombie is doing work.
It's like probably the best skill in Blood Bowl have on a team.
Depends on the team, frankly, but yeah. The teams
Any team that has fast players, yeah.
Yeah, the teams that can make use of it
these wolves definitely count.
For sure. The teams that can make use of it can make use of it really well. Like, you know, it's not going to do so well on like a Nurgle team, because, you know, who cares? And you can't get kicked for a long time anyway. But on like Necro or any elf team, oh, it's so critical.
I mean, I might take a kick rotter.
I mean, I would. The problem is, though, there's a weird interaction there, right? Because Nurgle have so many positionals that you want to field on defense.
Oh, yeah,
very often you only have 3 rotters and they're on the LOS.
Yeah, that is true. So you'd have to take it later on like a Pestigore.
So something that I have seen is on like the Sacker Pestigore. It's like wrestle, tackle, strip ball, 2 heads, kick, because there's nothing else that really matters if you just roll normals.
Sure.
And he's going to be on the field on defense anyway. So I have seen that before, which is cool, but it's like it's a legend skill for a positional, right? Which is awkward.
It's a long way down the line.
Especially on a player that's not going to get SPP because they're doing sacking things, right? Like it's awkward to get on some teams, and Nurgle is one of them. But it's such a good skill. Failed to pick up again, by the way, and it's in the corner again.
Same square. Yeah, that's like the exact same square the kick landed in, and the same square the kick scattered to.
Yeah, so far, the RedJoker is down a player with Claw Mighty Blow and down a touchdown and lost 3 turns and is in the exact same position he was before. That's pretty bad. It's if he gets the ball here, it's pretty reasonable for him to score. But the problem is there, you go 1-1, and then it's your opponent's drive, and they have a wizard. It'd be like, things are gonna have to go really well here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even like that crazy for the wizard to be used in this drive specifically, because
yeah, exactly,
keeping it at 1-0 going in with your own drive, or God forbid 2-0 going in with your own drive.
Yeah, if you had a meter that was like the probability of a particular team winning, like it just shot massively in favor of Travel Scrabble after that turn 3, that early score there. It's such a big difference. Like, it just puts the momentum in your court, right? You don't need to score in the second half because you're under no pressure to do so, especially if you use the wizard here to stop the touchdown. We do get a hit on a wolf though, which is a pretty big deal, and I think that's the correct move by the RedJoker. Just target those wolves really hard. Like, that's how you will get an advantage in this game. That's a double skull.
I like that he's kept this flesh golem completely isolated with just 1 rotter. I think that's a good value trade there. It's
one of the few guard. There's a guard zombie and a guard white, but like it's one of the few strength guard pieces that exist for Travel Scrabble. So just kind of getting him stuck is certainly valuable. We get to surf this wolf or this Pestigore though, or try to. We fail.
Suffering from his own success.
No. Damn, I got a POW and knocked him down. I don't get to surf him. That's another skull! Because there's been a lot of those.
There's certainly been a lot of multiple skulls being rolled. Not going to say that it's been the most I've ever seen, because I did play a game last night.
I mean, the Flesh Golem does have break tackle, so he did just kind of leave, but...
Yeah, break tackle on that Flesh Golem is incredibly good, especially since he picked up dodge right after.
Yeah, and he's also the only Flesh Golem, so it's especially susceptible to getting tied up. So that skull means we're under quite a bit of pressure here for the RedJoker. I mean, he's gonna have to go forward now, right? It's turn 6, and he hasn't crossed the LOS yet.
He's also got a sidestepping, strength up, tackling werewolf sitting on his ball carrier.
It's a 2+ dodge, and you have a reroll for it, even if the tackle fails, so I wouldn't be too scared, but yeah. He's gonna have to move, like, max movement every turn.
I think that is the one good thing about, like, these Chaos-style teams, is that they do get to put all these Agi mutations onto their ball carriers.
Yeah, fake Agi 5, you know, with, fake Agi 4, with 2 heads and extra arms. It's just 2 skills to be a plus Agi.
Yeah.
But you can guarantee
2 skills
it.
that don't have to be an 11.
Yeah, you can guarantee it because they're normals, which is the nice bit. Oh, the Beast on the Wolf makes a lot of sense.
Beast finally starting to actually play this game. I think that was his first turn of playing.
Doing something. Break Tackle getting a lot of value here. Not everybody knows that Tentacles works on Leap, so that Wolf now has to roll Tentacles to get away, which is not free. It's not difficult, but it's not free. So it'll make you think, especially since it's on the floor, it'll make you think twice before trying to use that wolf to do any sort of blitzing.
Yeah, because if he fails the tentacles roll, then he's getting Mighty Blow, Tackle Clawed, and then fouled probably.
Yeah, and he loses his blitz too. He'll probably just try to dodge out and be ready to do something next turn. But then it's the Nurgle do get to make some forward progression because the zombies aren't fast enough to get in the way here. So I think it's pretty likely that we see a score for the RedJoker here, assuming the wizard doesn't get used.
Yeah. I almost would like tried to dodge Muttley back and make him like a scoring threat for the wizard turn, but you can do that on the next turn. You don't have to do it this turn specifically.
Yeah. And now we the Nurgle Warrior is going to claw Mighty Blow this top cat who's pretty important for this team as well, frankly.
And he is niggled, so that is a very juicy target to hit.
Yeah, but you kind of had to offer that. The other option was just to stand up Muttley and be like, punch Muttley instead, and I feel like Muttley is probably more important.
Probably.
No result though. We are going to foul him again, though.
Probably not going to see the wizard in this drive, just because he's kind of a little bit out of position in terms of being able to recover.
Especially with the Muttley KO right there. That's your big recovery or sort of taking advantage of the wizard threat, and he is off the field currently.
Yeah.
Oh, we wizard anyway. Never mind, what do I know? And it fails, so who cares?
Who cares? It would have failed anytime. It really sucks when you buy this 150k inducement and
it's a dead rotter. Yeah.
Poofing it.
As Superfed can tell you.
5 times in a row.
Over the course of like 3 seasons, like it wasn't one team, so that's certainly very impressive. But like I think it was over the course of like a season and a half through all the teams that I was playing over the course of those seasons, like so between Clan and REL and like the 80 English Invitational that I was in and some other stuff, I failed 7 of 8 wizards that I got that season between all the teams. Like it's a little different because it was 3 separate teams that were doing it, but it was still failing 7 of 8 wizards.
Yeah, I mean, my Pantheon Pastors Elves, like their worst season when they were in Div 3 and like Season 8, we failed 5 out of our first 6 Wizards that season.
Yeah, so it's not
all lightning bolts.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's not impossible, especially when with the sheer number of Blood Bowl games that get played, it's going to happen to somebody.
Yeah,
it just sucks when it's you.
They're only 2-ups, right? Like people fail 2-ups all the time. It's unfortunate that they're 2-ups that have such a big cost to them.
Yeah, it's just like it really sucks because there's a huge cost to it, but there's definitely a bit of sort of bias to that in a way because people get mad that the thing that they rolled a 2+ with a big cost for failed, right? So they remember those more than the like 2+ dodge they failed because you make 20 of those a game, right?
20. That's child's play.
I just picked
40 of them.
I just picked a number. But yeah, it is bad though because it's 150k of your team value that just vanishes, right? Which certainly sucks. Are we so?
Yeah, of course, the worst thing here is that the Necro still get a turn. They get a turn, and that Agi 5 Wolf isn't the worst thing at one turning.
No, I mean, I think there's a better way to one turn this, or to defend this one turn, and that is to put all that smell up on the line, because the wolf is going to have to be on the line to one turn here.
Yeah.
And it's raining. If that rain stays, that's -1, so he's Agi 4. And if you get him in at least one stink, he's Agi 3 now. So it's not trivial to get the catch, especially if he ends up still in a tackle zone.
And when you roll this blitz, you could have actually done something.
Plus, you could have just put 3 stand firm on the line, which totally kills it. Because there's no Juggernaut, right? There is not.
Please, sir, can I have some SPP?
the hero Rodder tries to stop the one turn with an uphill blitz and just gets himself killed. Okay. I mean it's scary because you're putting your good players on the line against, Claw Mighty Blow, but
is he suffering here? No, he gets the push.
That does straight up kill the one turn if you just put those 3 stand firm on the line, not only because it's stand firm but also because it's stink.
So he just needs one more square?
Yes. And it's pretty easy to get.
Relatively easy. He's got 4 ways to do it. He's got backups because he's pushed that other Rodder into the place where the Flesh Golem gets to try as well.
Yeah. He could... I don't think you can probably actually work another push out of this if you wanted to.
It probably involves GFIs from zombies, and I don't think it's it.
Yes, it would. It would involve GFIs from zombies, so it's probably better just to take it as it is, I think. Get the Hucket from Top Cat. Call it
even
a day.
Gets the 3 dice, this Rodder. Twice.
We get it in the second one. Alright, so now it's not a terribly difficult pass.
Yeah, not the worst thing.
He's Agi 4 as well. And
Troll 6s too.
That's a 3+ pass and a 2+ catch, and now a couple 2+ dodges. Or 2+ leap, actually. Yeah, you could have just totally stopped that with the 3 stand firm on the line.
That wolf is just disgusting.
But it could be 1-1 right now.
Yeah.
Nurgle plus 3 stand firm players, unless your opponent has Juggernaut, it should be functionally impossible for your opponent to one turn against you. Even with Juggernaut, the 3 stand firm are all stink, so that player is now, even if they knock you over at the end of all of it, it's -3 to the catch part of it, generally.
White comes back pretty good.
We do have a dead Rodder, a sent off Rodder, and an injured Rodder. But I think we still have a full team. It's just that's the whole bench. Yeah, the whole bench.
Yeah, that was his whole bench. And now he has to play defense while down 2-1. So Travel Scrabble doesn't have to do anything.
Travel Scrabble not putting the recently gained zombie on the field from that Rodder, so he's not doing the not doing the BM and playing his own player against him immediately.
That's sad. I always do that. Regen team.
Yeah,
Just feels good.
No,
You can't
Rada's-
have like the memes. When I played in my my first Greenhorn season, I was playing up against an undead team, and I had this elf who got killed in the first half. After scoring a touchdown for me, and then he scored a touchdown for the undead in the same game.
Oh my gosh. Well, a touchback and it not raining anymore. Not like it really matters for Muttley. I still haven't seen the if you kill a ghoul as a Nurgle team, you get a rotter off of it because ghouls don't have regen, and then that undead team could kill the rotter like in another game that you play and get their player back as a zombie.
Yeah, it would have to be a later season,
Like
a later game, because
but it's possible.
the Nurgles only happens at the end of the games.
Yeah, but it's possible, and I want to see that happen because I think that would be funny. Like, I want my player back. He's just worse, but he's mine again. And that's the only way that can happen.
Yep. Random block rotter. High-fiving.
He's okay. And so is the other rotter.
So let's say the one thing that Travel Scrabble seems to lack on his team is a good ghoul.
Yeah, he's got the great wolves to do a lot of that sort of ball carrying stuff, if you'd like. But ghouls are certainly valuable. It frees up the wolves to kind of either be threats in various places or do surfing or whatever. And if you could get like even one, like a passing game is really reasonable with an Agi 5 werewolf and like a catch ghoul, like with one level, if you wanted to do something silly like that. But ghouls are also really great on defense. You know, you can often get like wrestle on a ghoul and movement 7 wrestle. You don't really want to put your wolves in the ground if you don't have to, because they do other things too.
Not sure he really intended to leave such a big gap in this line here, but there's now a ball-carrying Pestigore who's snuck his way through.
Thankfully, Nurgle are slow, and they can't really do anything about this. They can they are going to just put at least two stink on the wolf to bust him back down to. Oh no, that's the other wolf. So that busts that wolf down to strength or Agi 2. Equivalently, now he'll be Agi 1.
Even worse, yeah. He's not catching the ball.
No. And since the wolf and the ghoul are in that square of Nurgle, he's gonna have to rely just on Muttley carrying it down the other side of the field if he wants to score like soon. Frankly, he doesn't really care though. Like you said, he's up 2-1. He could just never score and still win this game right now. But
yeah, it looks like we're going the other way.
There are 2 Nurgle warriors with Claw Mighty Blow like right there on the LOS. Never mind. Now there is one. Oh, okay, there's still 2. He's just stunned. But they could theoretically just chunk through the zombies, and the zombies are the only thing keeping this ball safe right now.
It was a bit scary, like making this block with Flim Flam, because 1 in 9 there, 1 in 81.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, your ball's based up.
I mean, this is a two heads Pestigore. You could get in there.
Yeah, and he can get a 2D on the ball easily because he can cancel out the only assist.
Yep, just stand up that rotter. Tentacles. Dodge. Ghoul's okay. But we get a Claw Mighty Blow on Top Cat, which is a pretty big deal. We could get a Claw Mighty Blow on the Muttley Jr. if we'd like, pretty easily. Although I don't think we can do it with Tackle, which would be important.
Yeah, the Tackle one is done. Kind of stuck there.
Oof. That was probably not the best choice. That's a guard zombie. Just kind of annoying. But you could have 3-died that zombie with the beast before doing that block.
I think he just didn't realize it and clicked too fast.
That's probably fair, because you could have 3-died that zombie, which is pretty favorable, and then you get a 2-die out of the second hit on the white. And the benefit for that too is you can follow up the beast onto the wolf. It's the strength wolf, so he's more likely to get away, but it's still something.
It's still a roll that you want him to be making.
Yeah, it's still more dice they have to roll. Are we going for this? We are, it looks like. And we don't find the knockdown. Yeah, we went for the dive, but we got double both down, and it turns out we've already used the reroll. So I think a little bit of turn ordering there could have made a difference.
His reroll too if he hadn't messed up that play over there.
And well, the next 2 dice would have been double push, so.
Because that's how dice work.
I mean, they kind of do. It just generates a giant string of dice before the start of the game and then just proceeds through them. It's like Python.random or whatever. Not in reality. That's not how dice work in reality, and you shouldn't think about dice that way because that's not how dice work. But it turns out very specifically in this game, they do kind of work that way.
I think it's more of like a philosophical argument of it's not how dice work.
Yeah, exactly. Because in reality, that's not how dice work.
Yeah, the kind of thing where you don't want to be like changing your thoughts on whether it was a good play based on what.
No, result. I think the better answer is that results-based analysis is bad.
Yeah.
But
that break tackle has been real good this game.
It does make me feel better when I like try something and then I'd be like, oh well, it would have failed anyway. Like it makes me feel better in my mind when I do something like that and it doesn't work. But you shouldn't do that.
I don't think the Nurgle are even going to be able to force this score happening rather early. Anyways.
No, and they would need to because they'd need to score and then they need to 2-turn and then they need to turn over. And like all on top of getting a boatload of removals to make like their turnover easy. It's well, the thing. Don't forget that Gishmogors exists. That is an Agi 5 Strength 5 wrestle tackle hit on the ball.
Yeah, and it's got 2 heads. It's got everything you need.
Yeah, it's Agi 5 Strength 5 on the blitz. So we do find the knockdown. So you got to be real careful when trying to defend against him. Second chance for the Nurgle Warrior. He doesn't get it though.
Unfortunately, he didn't break the armor of that wolf, so
no.
It's like it's his ball still.
Pretty much. I mean, it's in 3 tackle zones, but we can clear up 2 of them very easily. And then there might as well not be any. If we were willing to like roll dodges, we could have cleared up all of them, but I don't think you're willing to roll a dodge, like a 3+ dodge, to make your 2+ a better 2+.
We'll get away from tents.
Ooh.
Top.
Injury coming out on one of the Nurgle Warriors.
This is the busted Nurgle Warrior, so...
He doesn't get better, which is a big deal for Travel Scrabble. That's 1 claw hit gone. Marking up the scoring threat. Getting the ball on our own. Oh! That ghoul has failed multiple dodges away from this beast of Nurgle. Although this time he hurt himself.
That's the old playoff bingo card thing. It's like, you succeeded the tentacles roll, but you failed the dodge.
And that ghoul has done it twice now. Made the tentacles and failed the dodge. Just this time he got hurt, so he can't do it another time.
Game's getting a bit like, one of those sloppy areas where neither player's really in an optimal position each turn.
Yeah, and those are sort of my favorite. I love playing the game when it's like this, when you just don't have that many options, and it's kind of like a weird puzzle. Like, is it possible to do this? Like, how do I do this with 5 players or whatever? And like everybody's all over the pitch and kind of stuck, and like the game ends up becoming like 3 separate puzzles rather than 1 puzzle, because you have like one area of the pitch that's all sort of stuck together and another area that's all stuck together, and you've got to solve them separately.
Yeah,
I find that very entertaining, personally. We're gonna reroll this, I would imagine. Well, this ball is being very slippery today.
Well, it was raining earlier, so
Yeah, it's probably still moist. push the ball carrier. Knockdown would have been ideal there. Because he's between him and Gishmogors, it's going to be very difficult to get this ball safe, just because you don't have enough players, right? There's one available zombie. Like, you can't get it safe from the Pestigor unless you physically move out of his range.
Unless, you foul it.
Yeah, we have the zombie. We could do that. And you probably want to foul this. I guess it doesn't. No, if you could foul this from. Oh, we're just marking up the beast. Guess we don't want to have the beast be able to put himself in the ball. We could have fouled from one of the 2 squares above the Pestigor, and it would have A, been a foul, and B, made the other. Oh, there's the foul. If we don't break armor here, though, yeah. So I was going to say, if you fouled from one of the top squares, it means that this dodge is an extra tackle zone. And right now it's still a 2+ because it's 2 heads and agi 4 into 2 tackle zones. So if you
was able to go with the dirty player, but yeah.
So I don't know I don't know which one is better. Like, do you do the regen fail on that too is a big deal. I don't know which is better. Like, do you do the foul with the dirty player and have a better chance at breaking armor and then you can't do anything? Or do you do it with the non-dirty player and have a worse chance of breaking armor, but a harder dodge afterwards for that player?
I think he liked getting the guy in front of that beast, because obviously the beast being able to get back there would be a problem.
That's true. I don't know which one is better, but I think they both have merits. But an injury on that wolf that didn't get better. I mean, I think that wolf is okay. It's just a badly hurt. But I think it might be too late for the RedJoker.
Much to the chagrin of all the REL 1 coaches who hoped for worse.
Yeah, I know. But like, look what happens to this team is so reliant on that wolf. Like, I guarantee you the next 3 turns are going to be completely under the control of the RedJoker.
Yeah.
Because that wolf is just such a big threat. So if you can get him out early, you can win the games against Travel Scrabble. But I suppose we do have the white here that we couldn't really tie up, who's probably going to be able to do something about this ball.
Yeah, I mean, he is strength up, so he can potentially get a good hit.
He's going to grab it himself, and I think you have to try the score here. He does get it. Because otherwise you have a strong chance of just tying the game, or having the game tied. Because we'd get it in the hands of the Sure Hands pest, and then just sort of leave. But, so I think you have to take that, and taking it and having it work is great, because now I think at worst it just is 3-2 for you, and you still win.
The worst thing now is still a win, because there's not enough time left for the Nurgle.
No, I don't think the Nurgle are going to 1 turn and then try to turn you over. They could 2-turn and then hope for a riot. We're not in a riot stadium, are we? No, we have the squig sandwich kiosk.
Yeah, we want to stop the rocks from hitting those werewolves, I think.
That's fair.
When your entire game plan resolves around 1 or 2 players, you really, really don't want them getting rocked.
And that's fair. And it also not giving bribes to your opponents who are then going to stomp on those wolves also helps.
Yeah.
So I think the Nurgle just have to try to 2-turn here and then pray for like a riot is the only way you can either tie or win this.
Travel Scrabble is going to not even field his wolf. That's how much he wants to save it.
That's fair. The other option is just I'm going to punch stuff and try to get some SPP. It depends on how you feel about your season, etc. It looks like we may be trying to 2-turn with the dodge Pestigor, which I think is a kind of a compromise. Good thing we're in this Squig Sandwich Stadium. If you get the 2-turn, you get it on a guy who needs SPP. At least. You're probably more likely to get it done on Gishmogors, but how unlikely you are to win the game, it might be better just to try to get SPP on people you care about. And this is a way that gives you a chance at winning the game while still doing the other thing.
I wish it would tell you which of the players the rock was at targeting.
No, you get $sign player number 1 and $sign player number 2. You can just tell like how they coded that sequence or whatever is like, they check for canceling first before they like determine that. Right? It's like, you know, if in cancel stadium, then return function rather than like do the rest of the function. So it never randomly determines who the players are and fills out the string. It just like returns string, and that string isn't full yet because they didn't bother to figure it out. So you get this like variable name player 1, variable name player 2. It's very funny. Is that even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? That's not even in scoring range. So we're not going for the 2-turn. We're just going for try to score on the dodge player to get him some SPP, I think.
I mean, that's not unreasonable. Dodge player needs some levels.
That's true.
It was pretty unlikely for him to get a 2-turn here anyways.
That's very true.
Even with Travel Scrabble deciding to leave all his good players off the pitch.
Yeah, against Agi 3, Movement 6, all you really need to do is kind of put a couple players in the way. Like, he can even just make a solid wall, right? You can't run through people, it turns out. And looks like that's what he's going to do, is just, here's my zombie wall. Run around it, please. It's sort of a screen, but it should work. And he's just going to run to the right now with the dodge player and just make a big old cage of Nurgle warriors. And be like, please punch me. And I think Travel Scrabble will just leave because he doesn't want to get hit by the Nurgle warriors. And even if the RedJoker scores, the game's already over. So,
yep.
Well, we might as well watch it to the conclusion. We're almost over. There might be a fun death or something.
Yeah, and we can also talk about like the implications, because I believe this win locks Travel Scrabble for the playoffs.
Does it? I haven't actually checked about who is locked for what. This should put Travel Scrabble at 22 points, I believe. Which means that there would only be... we'll see that once we get into the results. I don't want to spoil anything, but I think you are right in that it does lock him. And I think that means there's only one, since Not for Science and Stouticus were also locked this week, as we will find out. Spoilers. Shouldn't have said that, but it's fine. I think Not for Science was locked last week, frankly.
Yeah, I think he was too.
Means there's only actually one playoff spot really left to fight for.
It usually happens that way in Div 1, you know, the people at the top. Yeah. And it's always that last playoff spot that's really tight until the very end.
Yeah, I missed it by 1 point last season. And this season I'm in dead last.
Dead last.
I am currently tied in points with somebody who left the division. Yep. It has not been a good season. Well, it like cost the lives of most of my good players to miss playoffs by 1 point last season. So I went into this season with a pretty bad team. It's better now, but it doesn't matter anymore. Like, it's taken me this season to get it back to a place where I feel okay at games, and even then, it's still not great. Against Bash teams, I don't have very much guard, and against Elf teams, my only tackle is a Strength 2 Pestigore. Like, it's not great.
That doesn't sound great.
No. All right, let's see if we can do it, Mr. Pestigore. I mean, we got a pretty easy dodge out and a very easy pass, and all we have to do, or you can even hand off. I was going to say we could blitz the dirty player zombie out of the way, but we don't even need to. We take the GFI to get the handoff, which I think makes sense. Although we fail the catch, get it the second time, and now it's a 2+ to get 3 SPP. Hooray! You did it.
SPP!
But there you go. That's going to be 3-2 for Scooby and the gang over Fear and Bloating. Yeah, it's really stressful, Toawesome. Like, I know the feeling. I almost made playoffs by, like I said, 1 point last season. And the season before that, I made challengers. And like going into challengers was like, even though it's challengers and not like proper playoffs or whatever, quote, it's still really nerve-wracking. Like, I felt super nervous before it. Oh, that dodge Pestigore even got MVP, so that was totally worth doing. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty much got to get a level next game. One more touchdown does it.
No, it's not always free to do that on Nurgle, unfortunately. They're not elves. But it's pretty easy to get one now. And then just a standard dodge Pestigore, frankly, is fairly useless.
It's 2 weeks to make it.
But, you know, Blodge turns out is pretty good, or Raj. You've already got another... you've already got a Sacker, so it depends on what you want to do with him, but it's a nice skill to add to either like a guard Pestigore or a ball carrying Pestigore or a sacking Pestigore. Like, there's a lot of options.
Yeah, maybe make him like the guard Pestigore, get the blocked guard.
Yeah,
blocked guard is pretty good.
Yep, and then he could also get stand firm if he needs to. And anyway, I'm going to bring up the title screen for a moment so that we don't spoil in the next game, because we might as well do both games, right?
Yeah.
Before we look at teams or anything. Well, we're not looking at teams, but before we like talk about what happened. Let's do that. And the other one we're going to watch is one that we were told was very interesting, so we're going to watch it. And because you get rewarded for telling us these things, like we ask, is like, hey, watch this one. We'll be like, okay. So we're gonna. I mean, it also helps that it's one that I wanted to watch anyway, but shh. Another one that has relatively important playoff implications. I will get back into the game now that I'm loading up the replay. We're going to be watching Luminous and the Gourmet Governors versus Duberman and Average Joe's Gym. So before this match, Luminous and Duberman are both just outside of the playoffs cutoff. You know, Superfed pretty much, I don't think he's locked yet, but Superfed pretty much has got his spot kind of at the top of the div. But the division was so close between like Luminous, Big Chuck, Toawesome, Ficction, Duberman. There's a lot of people that could fill in those bottom two spots, and this is two of them. So it's a pretty big game that way. A win here for either team is huge. That's fair, Big Chuck. We will not. Partially because we don't watch games next week. There's a Halfling Master Chef for the Average Joe's Gym, and they get 3 rerolls.
All 3 rerolls.
Wow. Okay, so this is a vampire team with 2 rerolls versus a high elf team with 6.
To reroll almost every single turn.
For a team that doesn't need that many. Oh man, well that's a start.
Means they get to do a lot of greeting.
Yeah, Superfed isn't locked, but that's why I said I don't think he is locked, because he's not. It's that sort of thing where there's this one specific situation that needs to happen. So it's not mathematically confirmed yet, it's just very probable. We are in a wizard stadium, by the way, so free wizard for both teams. So we've got 2 babes, 6 rerolls, and a wizard for the elves.
It's a lot of inducements. The wizard stadiums always help for that.
Not at the time of recording, Big Check. So remember, it is supposed to be Wednesday right now. And I just forgot that it was Wednesday. So we didn't do it on Wednesday. At the time of recording, quotation marks, as of Wednesday, before any matches this week have happened, he was not locked. But I mean, well, some of the matches for this week have already played, so we'll see that when we get to the leaderboard afterwards anyway.
Yeah.
An extra reroll on the kickoff event, by the way, means Duberman has 7 rerolls. Just greed everything. Every turn, do it greed.
It's like when you watch a game with like a really new player to Blood Bowl and they've bought like all the rerolls.
Yeah. Oh man. And it's like, I have 8. It's great. I'm like, that's so much TV. Man, and so Lumi's vampires are pretty reliable in that almost all of them have Blodge. There's a couple
Quite a
pro.
few of them even have pro, yeah.
I think there's 2 pro. So he's not as punished by not having as many rerolls as other vampire teams are. But still, he likes to use his rerolls to do stuff like reroll hypno gazes, because you can afford to be, quote, greedy in that way, because you don't have to save them for stuff like dodge or blocks or whatever. But now he probably does with only 2 rerolls. Like,
Oh, 2 rerolls? Like, they're just bloodlust. You're not going to get to use them anywhere else. He always has to reroll a few bloodlusts to half.
Yeah, that's a big problem. Like, it changes your play so significantly. You'll have to be ultra conservative with.
It was very expensive, but it worked out for Duberman. It does cost 300k to get the chef.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I think it makes sense against the vampires though, rather than like a crazy star player.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the teams that you would consider buying it against as non-halflings.
Weirdly enough, it's also really good in Imperium because you can't induce mercs or like star players because mixed teams. So there's not that many things you can spend it on.
And you also have a very large chance of being in a game where there's
like a huge TV difference.
Yeah.
Plus, you don't have normal teams all the time, so not everybody. It's very common to have like a 2000 TV team where like not like only half the team even has block, because you get all these positionals.
But also because of like the card limit, it's also pretty likely to come up against a team that doesn't have that many rerolls.
Yeah, so you'll get like 3 reroll teams that don't have very much block or don't have very much tackle or don't have very much dodge or whatever. So like you kind of actually burn through rerolls more quickly than you'd expect. So stealing them from people make a pretty big deal. Well, we have the ball on one of the very good vampires, and it's one of the pro vampires, so he can reroll his bloodlust if he needs to, or at least attempt to reroll his bloodlust. Tackle doing a thing. I don't know the high elf costumes very well, but I always mix up like Phoenix Guard and White Lions and all that kind of stuff. But it does seem weird to me that like catchers are White Lions.
Yeah,
like that seems odd. And like what are the Blitzers Phoenix Guard? Is that what that helmet is?
I think so. Yes.
That kind of makes sense.
Or no, the Blitzers are Dragon maybe, and maybe the Phoenix is the throwers.
Oh right, the Phoenix Guard is the thrower. That makes no sense. Well, no actual removals on the thralls yet, even though we managed to get a couple hits on them, just some stuns. 2 vampire stun though is a big deal. This is probably going to be just a holding pattern turn for Luminous, I think. Just going to kind of sit here.
Yeah, all the elves are still in a pretty good screen too.
I think it's very much going to be like we're just going to kind of sit here and we'll have to lose the turn, but hopefully next turn we can be in a better spot to do something. The 2 vampires surrounded by their cloud of thralls. Just a push this time from the High Elf Blitz, and that's the only block we get. No other based up players. So the High Elves will continue their screen. There's no
not uncommon. Not uncommon for elves to not take too many blocks a turn.
No, not at all. Just it's weird because this is like a normal High Elf team. I'm so used to looking at like the Voltrix Vanguard or Not for Sciences
Not
team,
for Sciences, yeah.
where they all have crazy stat players and like leap and all this kind of nonsense. And this is just a normal elf team. Like there's some blodge, there's one guy with plus movement, there's like one guy with guard. So they have to play the very standard. Never mind, that's a dead vampire.
Ooh, and the Apo takes it to a perm. That's really bad.
Strength busted on Vladimir Putin. And the regen failure. Well, I mean, you would trade that all day, every day, I feel. The send-off on one of your elves for that vampire being out. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Good thing we bought a new vampire recently and can start leveling Kim Jong-uni, because I feel like a strength 3 vampire is not that great. But he just has to play like very normal elves. Like we're going to be screen and we're going to back up a little bit every turn, just try to slow you down, get in the way, wait for my opportune turn, instead of just being hyper aggressive, because he doesn't have the tools to do so.
Really feeling the lack of tackle.
Well, one of them's in the Kaz box now.
Yep. That's why it was such a big one to lose.
I think it was the only one. Is it the only tackle?
Yep.
Ooh, that's a problem.
That's a very big problem against a lot of blodge.
Yeah, that's pretty much what this elf team is blodge. We have one down for the elves, and there's no bench, so if we could get a bit of a player advantage, we might be able to do something, but that's not trivial on vampires, considering
It's certainly
your
harder
speed
when you've lost your tackle mighty blow player.
Yeah, for sure. This half does not look great for Lumi, especially since there's a wizard involved for Duberman. We don't have
the one thing is like there is no Agi 5 abomination to go pick it up afterward.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say, is that there's nobody who can you can't just wizard any turn at all and then do something with it, because we don't have like an Agi 6 gutter runner or like an Agi 5 leap werewolf or something stupid.
Yeah, that was kind of like the way my team worked in Div 1 when it was there, and same way with how the Voltrix Vanguard and the Not for Sciences team have been going, is that you have this super retrieval option on any turn, so if you ever do have a wizard, it's very, very good.
Yeah. So he's gonna have to wait until the vampires are stretched out a bit more, so that where he knows he can probably recover.
Lumi's kind of content to just sit here for a bit longer. Doesn't want to push too early.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't have to go for it. The only problem is that vampires are kind of slow. So he will have to get going forward at some point, because if he waits too long, the elves will just be able to deny his forward progress enough that it'll be slightly harder for him to score. Just because movement 6. Well, I guess movement 7 on that vampire, but movement 6 is still, you have to do 2, more likely 3 full turns of just running from the LOS.
Yeah.
Unless you want to roll GFIs.
And he's got 3 turns left, so here we are.
Yeah, you gotta go forward this turn. Unless you want to ultra potato at the movement 7 next turn. You have to go forward now.
Question is, can he get these hypno gazes to work?
Nope. Oof, push city as well.
Is he even moving forwards at all this turn? No.
Doesn't look like it. We do have Flying Jacob the Thrall, where he can put himself in scoring range next turn. And I think the vampire could as well. But it's going to involve some GFIs, and Duberman can get pretty seriously in the way here. Blitzing this Thrall is probably a good idea, the movement one.
Yep.
Find the POW. So it puts us pretty solidly, and we're scoring on this vampire, I think.
Unfortunately, kind of left like a little gap in the line here.
In the middle, yeah. It looks like we're going to be exploiting that, because we can hypnogate. We can block one elf here, and we can hypnogaze the other one.
Trying to get himself into scoring position after blitzing. Eats up a reroll.
But he does make it.
Now, the good thing for Lumi is that he hasn't actually used a reroll before this turn, so his 2 rerolls might survive.
That's true. Well, so we've got the 1 that we've used, and now we have 1 for next turn as well. This hypnogaze not working is kind of unfortunate. Would have been excellent for that hypnogaze to go off.
Yeah, he would have actually been able to get that Thrall into a good spot.
Now we can sort of screen off this vampire, but not, or the scoring threat vampire, but not as well as you'd like.
Certainly not when you fail the GFI.
Nope. That doesn't help. Well, blitz that vampire, and there you go.
Ooh, the fireball comes down.
That's a weird choice.
I kind of like it. He can easily get into scoring position this turn.
It's okay. It's a very good fireball in that it gets 3 of the 4 down, and 2 of them, some of them are armor 7. The thing that I don't like is that if that didn't hit the vampire, it was useless. Right? Like, if you got the thralls, like, cool, maybe you get an injury on one of them.
He's got the wrestle tackle pirate, Steve the pirate. So it's not like he didn't have an option to get the ball down, as long as one of the thralls went down.
I suppose.
He had a guard nearby.
I suppose.
Now he's just in, like, he's scored already.
Yeah, well, there you go. The other thing you could have done is just lightning bolted the scoring threat vampire, and then Lumi definitely doesn't score, but then you might not, well, then you probably don't as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it had a pretty large chance of not doing anything, in my mind. Because, like, you could have accomplished, right, if you just lightning bolted the vampire and then just wrestle tackle blitz one of the thralls that was in the way, does that not do the same thing, but more reliably?
It might have, yeah.
Fireball was, he was rewarded, and then he got an injury out of it, and 3 knockdowns, which is above average, but sometimes dice.
For every good fireball, someone rolls a bad one.
Yeah, I think that's true. It was very, it could have gone very well, and it did, and it also could have done nothing. Like, the other argument, I guess, is that if it failed, it's not like it put you in a worse position than you were in. You could have still just blitzed the vampire scoring threat afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing that you lose is the fireball, right? Like, the worst case scenario is you lose the wizard for nothing. Well, Doberman's probably gonna... Never mind. Well, wait, we still have 7 rerolls. It's fine.
We still have 7.
7 rerolls on turn 8. So we get to reroll the GFI, and now we get to reroll the catch as well for this handoff. So,
yeah, in this case, the chef wasn't to get rerolls; it was to take them away from the vamps.
Yeah, that's all that really mattered. I mean, the vampires...
Surprisingly, I don't think it actually hurt Lumi that much.
Not this half.
The rerolls.
There's certainly
despite getting 3 of them.
Yeah, there's certainly some. I think he probably would have rerolled like at one of those hypno gazes if he had more than 2.
Yeah, a hypno gaze, or maybe like even one of the greed blocks early on when he only got pushes with the mighty blow vamp.
Yeah, that might have been good, but they didn't like cost him the game or anything.
5 out of 6. Ooh, a lot of rerolls.
That's The 4 pluses are certainly going very well for Average Joe's Gym this game. We've got 3 for 4 on the Fireball and 5 for 6 on the Master Chef. It's a lot of good 4 pluses. And I think he got... Was there a KO? Did he get his KO back? Or was that the vampire?
Alon Diarathor.
Whoever that is.
That was his, because that's with Babes. It has the +2 on it.
Oh, yeah. I think he's the...
But it was only a 2+.
No, not a 4+, so it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Where is that elf? That doesn't sound like a...
It doesn't. It sounds more like a thrall, but it has the +2 on it, so I'm assuming it's his.
Because some of them are Average Joe's Gym characters, and it seems like some of them are not. Perhaps he may... Oh, there it is. It's a lineman who has guard, so I bet what that is that a loner rolled like an MVP or something, and he kept him.
Probably.
Because it's the guard block lineman. Because everyone else is like a character from the movie. Peter LaFleur and White Goodman and Steve the Pirate. Mm-hmm.
Steve the Pirate's the best.
That's true. Huh? Steve the Pirate? Who? The guy who dresses up like a pirate all the time? Who? And then he shows up not in a pirate costume. He's like, oh, Steve the Pirate. It's like, now you get it? Like, now that he's not dressed up like a pirate anymore. Oh man, another reroll for Average Joe's Gym, just in case they needed 6.
All the rerolls, all the time.
Average Joe's Gym has had a total of 13 rerolls this game. That's a KO'd vamp. At least it's the rookie one.
It's one of those things when you have a guard-heavy high elf team like this. That's like the one thing that's not fair about this high elf team.
Yeah, we can just get
They're
some
able
good
to get
all
those
those
hits
blocks
on the line. Yeah. Because 3 guard is quite a lot for high elf.
It's quite a lot for any elf. That's more guard than I have on my Nurgle team. And again, my Nurgle team is bad, so... Well, we get to try again. That one's a skull, though. Good thing we have 6 rerolls.
He's slightly getting closer to leveling this movement 9 catcher. That vanity pass he made.
Oh yeah, we're 4 away now. I think we'll try to get another one and then maybe a touchdown.
Probably.
We have a natural 1-turner potentially in him. Even if he doesn't roll movement, you just take sprint next anyway.
Now, the thing still to worry about is the fact that Lumi has a wizard, because this was a wizard stadium.
And that is true. The wizard is still available. And with vampires, you know, you can make some serious use of a wizard between the Agi Strength 4 and the Hypnogaze.
You don't have to get very much down. Like, you pretty much almost never fireball with vamps, I feel like, because you can just Hypnogaze the players that are in the way.
Yep, yeah, you get we can surf an elf here too. Looks like we're not going to, though. Oh, because he would have had to, well, he would have had to bite someone anyway. But yeah, because you'll just lightning bolt the ball, and then you can Hypnogaze or blitz one of the players in the way, and you get a lot of options to clear up the guarding players. High elf catchers with movement 9 make some of the most incredible 1-turners because they have strength 3, right? You can get movement 10 sprint sure feet on a strength 3 player.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen movement 10 sprint sure feet Juggernaut.
Yep.
So they can push their way through a line with both downs.
Yeah, it's crazy. And even if you don't get another movement, if you rolled like doubles, like imagine getting like a Mighty Blow movement 9, like just blitzer. Like high elf catchers are so versatile.
They can reach whatever you want to kill.
No, he can be anything, right? Because they're strength 4, agi 4.
Yeah.
So they can be, crazy ball carrier players. They can be 1-turners. They could be blitzers. They could be whatever. They're so flexible with that stat line. They can become anything.
Snakes.
8347 is a pretty incredible stat line.
It's a snake.
Mushroom.
Jabba.
God, that takes me back to junior high school.
Yeah.
Albino black sheep.
And we never activated that guard blitzer on the line either.
Oh no, we didn't. So
snake.
He is not doing anything. So Lumi is just gonna take hold of this ball and put it behind a screen of thralls. Didn't even need to use the wizard here. Oh, failed GFI. I mean, I don't think we need to reroll that. No.
Probably not.
So I think all we really have to do anything to this vampire is the thrower. I don't think anybody else can.
Probably would have considered rerolling that if you had 5 rerolls.
Yeah, but without, we're gonna have to try
when the halflings take some, you're gonna let that.
And so Lumi didn't score on his half, but he's gonna get to score on. He's likely gonna score on his opponent's half without using the wizard. So this puts it solidly. Yeah. We have a really good chance here. If we can utilize the wizard to do this again and go up 2-1.
That snake really changes things.
It does.
It's a very bad time to do it.
It's a bad snake. Naughty snake.
Well, we do get to POW Digi Dumpling. I just don't see any world in which we get this ball off this blodger. I mean, we have wrestle tackle, but
there's a wrestle tackle 1 die. I think I'm a bit ahead of you.
Yeah.
Let me know when the dodge fails.
No, it just failed.
Okay.
I'm pretty close to you.
But there's a wrestle tackle 1 die, but it was it involved a cage dive.
Exactly.
So now we
wasn't the craziest cage dive.
Nope.
3+.
This is a free touchdown. Oh, the pro even works, so we don't have to bite that thrall at the end.
But it was good on him to put the thrall there just in case.
Yeah, for sure. Like, he did fail the bloodlust, so if that pro didn't work, if he didn't do that first, that wouldn't have been a touchdown. Well, now we reset, and we're suddenly in a much better position than we were for Lumi, with a 1-1 score line and the wizard still existing.
Yeah, I think the wizard still existing is a very big deal here.
Oh, the vampire comes back too. That is important.
Oh, it's important not just for like the game, but the fact that he needs to start building this vampire back up to replace
the strength 3 one, yeah.
Yeah. Poor Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Very short kick. No blitz, so we don't get to like steal it. But unless the elves can't be greedy here, right? If they get another snake, or if they just get unlucky in some form, vampires could just get this ball with a short kick like that. So the elves are going to have to be non-greedy here, I think.
Once again, putting his guard to good use on the line, stunning some vamps.
Get to go after a thrall. Not greed re-rolling it, which I think it makes a lot of sense because we still have to get the ball.
Yeah, the one thing having like 7-6 rerolls doesn't save you against is failing multiple things in the same turn. So you're only allowed to use one.
That's my Imperium. I had an ogre who was strength 6, break tackle, wrestle tackle, strip ball, dodge. And it turns out his only weakness is more than one tackle zone. His break tackle is the thing. It's like, I was like, it was really fun for the one time he got to do anything all tournament, which was like click when my opponent forgot he existed and just made a normal cage and was like, haha, ogre time. But for the rest of every other game, my opponents are just like, hey, look, a screen. I'm like, ah, damn it. My one weakness. More than one tackle zone in a row. Turns out you can only use break tackle once.
Unless you roll that 6.
That's true. And that was that one time, Toawesome, was the only time he did anything all tournament. Every other time he was completely useless.
I remember we had a game where we had some break tackle shenanigans with
oh, was it Yaza?
Yaza. Yeah.
Oh, because he passed the first one. I remember that he rolled a 6 on the first dodge and then broke tackle.
Gets to do another one.
Did another one. Yeah, that was amazing. I love Imperium for stupid things like that. I haven't opened a legend all season though. Although I am on track to fielding the dream 11 big guy Far East Association team. I need 2 ogres and 2 goblin trolls, and then I have 11 big guys because I have 4 ogres, 1 orc troll, 1 chaos dwarf minotaur, and 1 rat ogre.
Ooh.
So there's a chance that I could just straight up field 11 big guys, but I think the goblin trolls are going to be hard to get.
Maybe roll UOSB pack instead.
Maybe, but then I could get a treeman.
Yeah.
And I can kind of cheat an extra ogre in there pretty easily with like, because I have Brock Firth, so I could like cheat an extra ogre in there really easily. But there's probably a better chance of getting a goblin troll out of a Union of Small People thing. Maybe I should try that next time.
So the ball is in a pretty good spot here, going up the sideline.
Yeah. Is this the wizard turn?
It's hard to say because, like,
Apparently, yes.
Not really too many things around, but I mean, you are vamps.
Yeah, I mean, so that scatter is not amazing. So we do. I mean,
it's not in any tackle zones, so that's one thing.
I've gotten more big guys than I have ever seen this season, Toawesome, but I have never gotten a legend all season. And I've not opened like 0 packs. I've opened like 20 packs or something. You have to get one or the other. So there's 1 Hypnogaze. If this one works too, we have a path through. Because the Agi 7
does work.
Yeah, if that one worked, we would have had just like a standard 2+ dodge through. But it didn't work, so I think we're gonna have to blitz and use the dodge. But since the first one worked, we had either option, which is good. Like if that Hypnogaze didn't fail, the first Hypnogaze working meant we had both options here. the Hypnogaze and then
yeah,
the
that
Blitz.
dodge was big. Yeah.
Oh, snakes!
More snakes.
Is that Vamp sidestep? He is not. He's surfable,
No.
but
He's not the vamp that has sidestep. The other two do.
although he's strength 5, and so it's
ooh. Dumb skull.
We could surf that vampire, but the only way to do it is with literally an uphill block because there's not enough squares to get the assists. Oh,
and it would have been worth, but
snakes again.
Use a reroll.
Yeah, I think it would have been worth 2. But like you had one square in the back to get an assist, one square to do the blitz from, and the other square had the ball in it. So
this game was going so great, and then suddenly ones. All the ones.
I think the plan there might have been to pick up the ball because it was a 3+ pickup, followed by a 1-die surf on the vampire. But you could only do that if you picked up the ball first because you needed the.
Yeah.
So I think that may have been the plan
assist.
there. Yeah, but it didn't work out, unfortunately. Hypnogaze here would be nice. Pro failing, unfortunately. That means we didn't activate that Hypnogaze again on White Goodman. That Hypnogaze works. So we can surf the catcher in return. And then I think Emmanuel Macron can get a hold of this. This was really, really good. I think this is a really good turn by Luminous. This turn and the turn before has been really, really good.
Steve the Pirate, no!
Unfortunately, last season I only got like useless legends. Like I got Baby Swiss. Like what the hell am I supposed to do with Baby Swiss?
Complain if you're metal.
Yeah, I got Baby Swiss last season, and then I think nothing else. And this season I've got
another
nothing.
one.
So it's not been good. But this is a good position for Lumi. I mean, we got another removal on an elf, and he's out forever. It means the elves are down to 9, and we use the wizard to get a hold of the ball. So this is a very likely 2-1. And it's a very likely 2-1 super late in the game, where the average Joes might not be able to do anything about it.
He might get like one turn, try something, but
oh no, the GFI. We are burning through those 6 rerolls down to 2. Ooh, we don't get the knockdown. It's a big deal.
Yeah, that vampire is a menace. Strength 5.
Strength 5, movement 7. It's pretty amazing. We have
He was a bit, he was a bit slow to get up there, but once he got his skills after the stats, he was good.
I don't like putting that elf there. We can just blitz our way through now. Like there is a guard, but he's strength 5. So all we have to do is throw in an assist or 2 here, and he can just blitz his way out now instead of having to dodge. And we even have a thrall that we can put down near the end zone to like run to after we blitz through here. So that's 5, 6 on 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so we have a 2-die blitz through. We would have had a 2-die blitz on the thrower, but at least it wouldn't.
But that would have been taking him sideways, yeah.
Yeah, not out, which this blitz is going to now.
Though he would have been able to walk out frenzy blitz, so he would have been...
I guess that's true. But this does make it theoretically just easier. And we take the touchdown. We don't get to grab the SPP on the rookie vamp, but I think you just take this is your shot to have this game in the bag.
You're trying to make playoffs, you just shake hands.
Yeah, for sure. He's
trying to win games.
He was just outside of playoffs before this game, so a win here is really big for him, his playoff chances. So I think this is that was very smart to do, like the correct move. You know, if you were somewhere in mid-table, maybe you stall that and just try to get the touchdown on the rookie vamp, but I think because of where you are, you just take that.
So while these last turns go, I'm going to quickly take a quick bathroom break.
That's fair. Trying to get a hold of my points for future reference. I predicted the High Elves. I don't know why I did that. and Shadorra predicted the vampires. I think I did it just because, oh right, I remember talking about this very specifically. I said last week, I'm going to pick the Highelves, and then next week I'm going to say, why did I do that? Which is exactly what I did. But it was because I'm so far behind in our tipping comp that I was just trying to make up some points. And in order to do that, they need to be divisive picks. Otherwise, we don't change our score line any. So that was what that was for. But it means I was right and Shadorra was wrong for the REL 1 game. And Shadorra was right and I was wrong for the REL 2 game. So 0 points all around so far. Patches O'Houlihan getting the old yeet. Which we did first because the kick was so deep that trying to get the one turn here means that we're gonna have to do like a handoff to get the touchdown. So we do that now. We're gonna run the elf around to both fill the square and hand off the ball. What is that block for? Are we in scoring range now? No, we need another push. And then we get a skull. I think we messed up that one turn. I wasn't paying attention too much to the setup, but I think we just straight up messed up that one turn. Well, Luminous is gonna punch the ball carrier out of spite now. I wasn't paying too much attention at the start of that, but I'm pretty sure we messed up the one turn.
Okay.
Is what happened. Oh, he missed the sidestep is what happened. And so he didn't fill the squares, yeah.
Yeah.
But there you go. So Luminous takes that. MVP goes to Emmanuel Macron, which I think absolutely deserved. And
I mean, he did all the hard work. So.
That's very true. And I think that's gonna put Lumi in a playoff spot. But let's we'll back into this. Let me bring up the slightly better way of looking at this, and which is REBBL.net instead of in-game. You know, it's a little sad when your community-made website is easier to view results on than the game is, but it turns out it is, so that's what we're gonna do.
That's what happens when you have Major Byte doing all the work.
Yes.
Amazing job.
So there have been some games played, but we'll come to that in a second. We can look at week 11 and the results for REL 1. So we had me versus Mongoose is Loose. I think we both predicted that Mongoose would win that. I think fairly. However, we tied it, so turns out that didn't matter. This is actually a really big game in a lot of ways. I could have won this. It came down to a 5+ Bull Centaur pickup in the first half. He had to make the 5+ pickup, and if he didn't make that, this would have been... If he didn't make that and everything else is the same, this would have been 1-0. But, I mean, dice don't work like that. You can't just assume that everything else would have been the same.
Yeah.
But he only scored in the first half because of a difficult pickup. Even though... And I made quite a game of it in the first half, because at the end of it, I was down to like 2 or 3 players on the field. And still managed to make it that difficult, which I think was pretty good. The armor breaks and stuff will tell the story, though, in that, you know, there's a lot of KOs, a lot of Kaz. Most of mine got better, and then in the second half, there were 5 Kaz taken by Bull Canoe, 3 KOs taken by Bull Canoe, and all of those came in the second half.
3 kills.
Yep. So if we scroll down, 2 of them were Hobgoblins, and they don't matter. But something that does matter is the 90 SPP Claw Mighty Blow piling on guard Dauntless Chorf is dead. All of this came in the second half. I was just super aggressive with trying to get removals. Like this Pestigore here is strength 2. The legend killer at the bottom is strength 2. And this was his first game as strength 2. I figured he would just be useful against the Chorf, so I kept him around, and then was just ultra aggressive, right? Like pile on, button, tape down. I don't care if you foul him. I don't care if he dies. He's strength 2. I'm going to extract every last value out of every last little tiny bit of value out of him I can. And he did work, frankly. He got a Kaz, but he wouldn't go down, which was kind of useful. But yeah, so this is a big match. Mongoose was in a playoff contention spot, so him getting a tie here is actually pretty bad for his playoff chances. And
yeah, it opens up the spot maybe.
Yeah, and he lost the blocker, which a lot of other people in the div are happy about, but it hurts him a lot. Yeah, unexpected, but tale of two halves certainly. Scooby and the Gang versus Fear and Blood, and we watched, so we don't need to talk about that. Grungy Desserts and Ars Gochu. We both predicted that the Nurgle would take this, and we were both right. 2-0 for Steakmittens.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Ars Gochu's team has been looking a little more trim than it used to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a giant Nurgle team who's at the top of the division, coached by Stouticus, going up against like a relatively underleveled Chaos team. Like, you take the Nurgle team, frankly. So, and we see that with, 11 armor breaks from the Grungy Desserts turning into 4 KOs and a Kaz on the Chaos. The Chaos in return gave 2 Kaz and 1 KO. But there's a bench for the Nurgle and not for the Chaos.
However, there was a very big Kaz, as we see here.
Yes, that is a smashed collarbone on all apple pies. He gets to, so Stouticus now gets to join the club of he's 3 SPP from Legend, but Legend Pestigors that are Legend Killer Pestigors that are strength 2. Not as bad as you think, but not good, frankly.
Not ideal.
No.
The meme has fallen.
No, I've got one too. Fell on Black, the relatively low level Nurgle warrior there got an MVP or picked up a level 2, which is a big deal. And no important real Kazes for Zeta's team, but Stouticus did take that one. One that we were going to watch and also had pretty big playoff implications is Ramaset and Not for Science. Voltrex Vanguard and Fellis Gawadadal tied 3-3. Ramaset was in a playoff spot and Not for Science at the top of was contending for a playoff spot, and Not for Science was at the top of the div, so this would have been a huge win for Ramaset. Turns out they tied. It also cost him a lot.
Well, both teams. Cost both teams a lot. It was a game.
Remember when we were talking about the unfair at G5 Leap players?
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah, this one's gone now. Just dead.
Both at G5s on the team.
That's such a. He's still got this
game.
Yeah, he's still got the sacking threat with the leap tackle strength 4. But when you can't recover it afterwards, is that as good when you don't have either of the agi pieces?
I mean, it's still very good, but it's a little less good.
That's fair. Oh no, all apple pies. Well, no, hey, I have a strength 2 Legend Pestigor Killer, and he did work my last game. Maybe you should keep him around. No, probably not.
I love seeing all these teams that I played with these players in the Superstar Shootout this season.
Yeah, I suppose you would have. That would have been entertaining.
Yeah. Lord Nathaniel Marr and Guardian.
I was so sad when my peasant from 1 Minute League was just instantly put on the line and then KO'd super fast and then never put on the field again. Like, oh, come on.
Oh no.
The Agi 4 peasant. The Agi 4 Bretonian peasant.
Yeah.
And we also lost a big player on Not for Science's team as well, the strength 4. So it was a bad day to be an elf with a stat up. But the one turner getting 2 touchdowns, I think is the story of that game, frankly. It's so hard.
Yeah, that is a nasty one turner.
It is so hard to win
Look
against.
Look how much SVP he has. 281. He's getting close to
look
at
at
300-ish. That is the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at the history of Fellas Quadadal, the number of games that there's several touchdowns from that one player, it's so hard to stop him. And with him on the field, pretty much every game is going to be a tie unless you do something about it. And we see that here. I mean, 2 touchdowns from the one turner, I think, explains most of this game, frankly. So I think we had predicted Not for Science for this. We did, but it was a tie, so no points there. not very many I like how there was 6 armor breaks and 16 armor breaks that became 3 deaths. It was they didn't hit that often, but when they did, they made it count. And we have Archangel's Will versus the All-Stars of Chaos. Archangel versus Locust. We both predicted that the Wood Elves would take this one, and they did. So hooray, good job us.
But at a cost, like everything this week.
Archangel's team is just destined to only have 3 players on it. Like, if your name is not He Who Catches Unseen, Adrastia, or Savari, your life is forfeit as soon as you sign the contract to play this team. Because he finally got a second War Dancer, he finally got him a level, and dead this game.
The best part of the death was that on the stream, he was talking about, he's only 3 SPP away from getting that second level, and then literally died that same turn he said that.
Oh man. Yeah, 33 blocks from the All-Stars of Chaos, a lot of armor breaks, so we had 6 KOs and 4 Kaz taken by Archangel, which doesn't surprise me. Locust plays like that. He does a lot of like try to block maximize, and he'll move his entire team over to one side of the pitch just to get a 3-die rather than like protect a different area of the pitch. So I'm not surprised to get a crazy amount of removals, but also that Archangel won, because often that results in not protecting important pieces or bits of the field that you need to protect to stop elves from doing elf things. So Archangel takes that 2-1, although yeah, like you said, at a cost. Not one he's unwilling to pay though.
No, not at all.
And then we had Kilrick versus Motley, Battle Brothers, and the Murdery Space Elf Troop. What did we predict here? I need like 4 monitors to keep all these notepads open. I predicted the Bretonians, and you predicted, or Shadorra predicted, the Dark Elves, and then they tied. So my whole strategy of like predicting a bunch of opposite things that he did to try to catch up in points is not working because you people keep tying games.
All the time is.
Yeah. Well, there's a death in this one too. Bad week to be an elf.
Just a rookie though, not a big deal.
Yeah, that was a much better blitzer, because all the blitzers in this team were pretty incredible. But so if you're gonna lose one, I guess you lose the rookie. But
it's now down to just 2 blitzers on the team.
Yeah, and only 1 witch elf, which is kind of unfortunate. But the ones that he has are incredible.
Maybe one was missed next game last week.
Well, he only has 1 witch elf, but I think the blitzer was MNG'd perhaps. Just some badly hurts, it looks like, or an MNG and a badly hurt for Kilrick. I'm pretty happy about this one because that is an MNG'd on a leader piece, and I play him next week. But we do get a level on Arthur Pendragon to send him to Legend, which is exciting. The Elves got 53 blocks.
That is a lot of blocks. We all know that Motley likes to play a very bash-heavy Dark Elf team, but that is a lot of blocks.
Well, and he can with a Witch Elf too, like that Mighty Blow piling on Witch Elf. Pretty crazy. And for some reason, Bretonians take so many hits, and I think it's like they end up taking a lot of hits on the peasants because they can't get away.
Yeah.
But every time I've played Bretonians, I'm always surprised by the number of blocks I took at the end of the match, and I don't know what that is. Yeah, and that's my like intuition is every time I've played Bretonians, it felt like they've taken so many hits, and I don't know why it is. Like I'm not sure what causes that, but it's very true. I don't know. I haven't played Brets enough to give like a predominant answer there, or like a confident answer, I should say. But yeah, 14 armor breaks versus 5. The Bretonians took 2 Kaz, 2 KOs, not super important ones. The MNG is unfortunate, but not really that big a deal. We get to flail around at each other next week because I don't think either of us can make playoffs now, so we get to play.
I guess the one big thing that we can take out of this game too is the crowning of a new legend.
Yes, Arthur Pendragon. We'll get to see what he picked up when we do predictions in a bit. And a dead blitzer, but who really cares? And then Necro, Horny Cricket, and the Rowdy Rebel Rousers. So we predicted that. God, wrong screen. Where am I? I predicted that the Nurgle would take this, or sorry, the Necro would take this, and you predicted that the Nurgle would take this. So that's good for me.
That's very good for you. How can I pick against Super Bowl double winner?
I know, right? I think my big thing is, as we saw with the travel, like a perfect example is the Travel Scrabble game earlier. Like Lumi also has an Agi5 werewolf, and it turns out that Nurgle just cannot deal with a movement 8 Agi5 piece other than making it die. Like that's the only thing you can do to not lose the game against that piece.
Yeah.
And Lumi has one, so I picked that basically just because I thought that wolf would do stuff. And he probably did. He didn't get any of the touchdowns himself, but he did get a pass. We got a touchdown on the rookie werewolf to level him. We got one on the rookie white, and we got one on Grandpappy Z. So I feel like one of those was one that he kind of got early. And then the other two were like agreed touchdowns on particular players.
Lumi would like an Agi5 werewolf.
Have I been saying Lumi when I meant Horny Cricket? I think that's what I was thinking about Lumi because he was in chat and
we just watched
this game. Yeah, I meant Horny Cricket. I'm very sorry.
And they're both Super Bowl winners. I mean,
it's easy to they're both Super Bowl winners. They're good coaches. Easy to confuse. Yeah. But I thought Horny Soul would do work, and I assume he probably did. We got 3 Rotter levels for Atomex here. Thing 1 got a completed touchdown to level. Sergey J got a TD to get a level, and Keanu Reaver got a Kaz to get a. Thing 4 got the MVP to get a level. He also got a death, but that's secondary. The
what is
Nurgle.
death?
Yeah, this is sort of what I expected, right? 51 blocks from the Nurgle versus 27 on the Necro, but the Necro winning. It's like the Necro doing the speed elf thing versus the Nurgle, rather than.
Yeah, I think one of the big things though is like there was double the blocks, but the exact same results in terms of removals suffered.
Yeah, and that probably
comes from a lot of the fouling that
Horny Cricket
Necro was doing.
Yeah, and there's also
they were able to pick up hack and slash. You see there.
Yeah, hack and slash and Cheney. So another claw hit from Cheney, strength 4 plus hack and slash fouling things.
Dirty player, the bull.
Yeah, there's a lot of a lot of fouls. But I think the removals are probably more what let it be 3-1 rather than like 2-1, right? Or 3-1 with 2 of the touchdowns being like greed on important players' touchdowns rather than if this was a closer game, you'd probably see 3 touchdowns on Horny Soul or 2 touchdowns on Grandpappy Z or something. Instead of
both teams suffered 4 Kaz, but you can see that the regens were slightly more powerful on the Necro side. Yeah,
and Grandpappy Z did take a fractured arm, but not until after he scored. So I think the removals just helped the Necro score on who they want rather than winning. Okay, so that's that week. So it's worth noting that Horny Cricket has played again this week, and so has Stouticus, because we're doing this review later than we should. So when we look at the leaderboard, Stouticus should actually be down 3 points, and Horny Cricket should also be down 3 points. So, but we'd have Stouticus and Not for Science, who I believe have their positions locked, and I think Travel Scrabble is locked.
Well, not their positions, but
their playoff spot locked.
Their spots in the playoffs, yeah.
And I think Travel Scrabble has it too now with his win that week.
Yeah, Travel Scrabble is locked as well because only one person passed.
But you can see how that tie for Mongoose is Loose made a pretty big difference, because if that was a win, he'd be locked and above Travel Scrabble. But since that tie happened, it let Travel Scrabble A, leapfrog him, and B, Ramaset is still, or no, Ramaset has played this week, right? Yeah,
Ramaset lost to Stouticus.
So but the RedJoker is still theoretically able to take that from Mongoose if Mongoose loses both
he gets 21.
Yeah,
Mongoose has to get at least 2 points to get to the playoffs.
So it's that tie was that he could have locked his spot if he beat me, but he wasn't able to. So it was actually.
And I mean, even Archangel can technically get up into a playoff spot at this point. Archangel and Motley, because they're both sitting at 14 points,
true.
And they can they get to 20.
Nobody can get it. Travel Scrabble should be confirmed because no one can get ahead of 22 other than Mongoose.
Yeah, Mongoose is the only player that can get to 22. So everyone else is looking for 21 or 20.
Yeah, no one else can get up to that. No one else can get ahead of him. So, yep, when we play this week, it's going to be the slap fight of irrelevancy. We get to just sort of chill out, I guess, because nothing we do matters anymore. But there you go. That's what so Staticus, Not for Science, Travel Scrabble going to playoffs, and we could see Mongoose, RedJoker, Archangel, or Motley in that fourth spot.
Yeah.
Very likely to be Mongoose, I think, though.
Yeah, they just need 2 points, so a draw in both games would do it.
Or any one win, yeah.
Or any win, yeah.
Well, so let's do some predictions for this week. So speaking of Mongoose, we have Mongoose versus Locust. Volcano versus the All-Stars of Chaos. Chorf. I gotta make notes here because Shadorra normally does this. So we've got 1790 Chorfs versus 1860 Chaos. And these Chorfs are actually not in the best spot for this week because of what I did to him. He's got 5 Chorfs, not all 6, but 2 of them are rookies. So he's got 2 removal Chorfs, 2 guard Chorfs, and 2 rookie Chorfs. No, I meant me and Kaelric are playing this week. So who do we? So that's the downside for the Chorfs. The upside is they get, some inducements out of it. Locust is down his claw palm though.
Yeah, that's also big. Both players missing a good player.
So they both have 1 claw palm. Locust is going to have 4 guard, and Volcano is going to have 2, 3, 4.
4.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, they have a hobgoblin with it. Looks pretty even on paper.
It does look it looks pretty even on paper. But I think I'm going to take Chorf just because, like we said, he needs to tie or win to go to playoffs. So he's probably pretty motivated to do whatever he can, whether that involves playing aggressively or scumming things, or well, he doesn't have any money, but like he's got more motivation, I think, to try to take this where Locust can't make it. So he might just go for SPP, and that can potentially tie you a game versus winning it.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe even. It's hard though because the Chaos, it tends to be a pretty good matchup for Chaos. I think
it is.
They have a lot of the strength advantage here, especially with missing guard on the line here with those Chorfs. So yeah, I think I can take these this Chaos team. They have dirty players to put it to boot to some people, and if they can get the removals rolling early, then Chorfs are gonna have a tough time.
Yeah, no, I think on paper for sure, it's very close and probably hard for Chorfs. I think just the one thing that pushes it for me.
Plus, you never underestimate the you get to play spoiler against the current Super Bowl champ.
That's true. I mean, I went ham against him, and I had nothing to gain.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have Murdery Space Elf Troop and Fellows Kawada Doll. So this is the Dark Elves. Who are missing one of their good linemen, but they do have so it was an MNG blitzer. So we got the 3 blitzers. That witch elf, Halle Buried, is going to work against the high elf team.
Gonna have to do work.
I mean, that's fair. Is going to and has to. Also gets what 270?
270, yeah. It's a good amount.
Not for Science does have 13 players and a 1-turn though. A 1-turner and 13 players.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to chunk through 3 elves before that 1-turner is even forced to see the pitch. And as long as that 1-turner is on the field, or is available, at worst is a tie, right? It's gonna be so hard to stop him. I think I want to take the Highelves for this one. I think
yeah, sounds right. I mean, I think I'm gonna take the Dark Elves because, as you know, I love me some wizard strategy.
That's true. I mean, these are all really close matches. Like on paper, it looks super close. Like there's a lot of guard for the Dark Elves. the Witch
I think
Elf.
the game's going to be decided by whose Palmer does the most work.
Yeah,
Hallie, Lord Nathaniel.
I think that's very true, and it's impossible to predict that ahead of time. So
Nope.
it's might as well toss. Like if you tossed a coin and told me what my choice was, I would probably be happy with it, frankly.
Yeah.
Well, Horny Cricket already beat ZZ, so we don't need to. We'll talk about that game next week.
I'm pretty sure we all would have. We both would have picked Horny there.
I think so too.
Sort of the way that ZZ's team's been mangled this season.
Atomex versus the RedJoker. It's a Nurgle off. Generally,
many Nurgle offs
this season. Yeah, the conventional wisdom is to take the bigger Nurgle. And the reason that the Rowdy Rebel Rousers are not the bigger Nurgle is because they have a Claw Mighty Blow Pestigore out for this game. So they have no actual blitzer. Like they've got Bird, who's the Sacker Pestigore, but they have 2 Claw Mighty Blow and they're on Nurgle Warriors, which are not like blitzer pieces.
He also has the more busted warriors, I'd say. At least like they both have some busted, but two of RedJokers versus 3 of.
And Fear and Bloating also has no blitzing Pestigore. They both have exactly 13 players.
Yeah, they're basically the same team.
They both have like Strength 4, Agi 4 wrestle pieces.
I think Yaza, the Beast of Nurgle, is certainly better on RedJoker's side.
Yeah, I think what this comes down to is that Nurgle inducements are bad, so in general you just want to be the bigger Nurgle team. And the RedJoker is the bigger Nurgle team, and he's got 4 Claw Mighty Blow versus, 2? Which
2.
is...
Yeah.
It could go either way. Who knows what Regen is going to do? Who knows what those crazy Agi 4, Strength 4 players are going to do? Like, it's so hard to predict, but like...
This is like the biggest definition of a mirror you can come up with.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But since we have to pick one, I'm going to take RedJoker, and that's just because, you know, if you're simulating this match on average, the more Claw is going to do more things than less Claw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'll also take RedJoker on this one. Gonna give us a little tie up here because I think he wants to make the playoffs as bad as he can, and this is gonna be the way he does it.
That's true. He also has a chance. Kilrick versus me. 1620 Brets versus 1900 Nurgle. They're only 1620 because they're missing 210k of Blitzer. And the legend level for Arthur Pendragon is Juggernaut.
I like it. I like Juggernaut.
I think that's a good choice. Well, I mean, this is going to come down to one of two things. Either he's going to run away and score, or I'm going to kill him before he can. And those are the only two outcomes of this game, I think. The problem is my team is garbage. And the only way I've been making my games competitive lately is that all the other teams have been bigger than me, and I've been getting a wizard and using the Agi 4 2-heads Pestigore to just be annoying. With it.
And now he gets the wizard and gets to use his Agi 4 blitzers to be annoying.
Yep. Well, frankly, this game is relatively irrelevant. Neither of us can make the playoffs. But I feel like Kilrick will probably beat me. He has beaten me the other times we have played. And I don't know how I'll be able to deal with those movement 7, like Agi 4 blitzers. I'll kill a bunch of peasants, sure, but like I only have 2 players that can actually do anything. So it's going to be super easy for him to lock up my team and then just leave. Because I have a Nurgle Warrior and I have a Pestigore. And
would you say that it would be ironic if you were able to get I Survived Season 13 t-shirt as a Pokemon?
Maybe. That would probably be good. I think that might have to be my goal.
Yeah.
Is to get I Survived Season 2. Also, my team went up like a crazy amount of team value last week because I got 3 Rotters from RedJoker. From Mongoose.
Yeah.
So I just suddenly got 120k TV. But I'm gonna take Kelrick for that one, frankly, because I don't think if he can shut down my like 2 good players, then the rest of his team will just be able to run circles around me.
Okay, I'm gonna put my money behind you just so that Shadorra in the next one can
wonder
can
why.
complain about match fixing.
That's fair.
You don't win.
I mean, Kael'Ric literally just tried to tank Shadorra's score like on purpose. And then everybody tied, so it didn't matter. Like, it didn't do anything. Everybody tied anyway.
We're just going to have Shadorra complaining about you match fixing by losing your match on purpose next week.
I think I've predicted against myself like every week so far, and I keep being right. So maybe there's valid complaint there. But, you know, if I was more concerned about the arbitrary tipping comp that means literally nothing than I was about, like, playing the game to win for like 8 months of my life, then I think there's something wrong with me. Well, Archangel's 4 elves versus Scooby and the gang, Travel Scrabble. Archangel gets a lot, 310, which is a pretty big deal. Although Scooby and the gang so he doesn't get to do his wizard things. We do have a Mighty Blow, Strength 4, Agility 4 white. We have the Mighty Blow, Flesh Golem, who can do things. The Tackle Werewolf is a big deal. Strength 4 Tackle Werewolf is a big deal. And Muttley is Muttley.
Muttley is Muttley. We're gonna have to hope that Adrastia gets to him.
Yeah, it's it'll be interesting. Like, I don't know who. Archangel gets a lot of inducements, and Wood Elves with a lot of inducements are really good, especially when your opponent's team is like very tall instead of wide, right? There's like 4 important players here and a bunch of zombies. So if we can get, like, Travel Scrabble needs to utilize those players very well and not, you know, get them hypno-gazed or lightning bolted. So I don't know. Although Archangel can't make playoffs and Travel Scrabble can, although he's already locked, so it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Kind of doesn't mean much. I mean, maybe Travel could get like first place if Stauticus messes up or something, but
yeah, so it's not a huge and Arc still can make playoffs though, as we said.
Yeah, Arc can still, for sure. So he's going to be trying. It's hard for Archangel to make it. He needs a lot of work to happen, but you know, starts here. I'm always gonna pick Elves against Scrabble, by the way, just because Travel Scrabble knows this. I love him, but he has an elf problem.
Yeah,
a losing to Elves problem.
I don't know who I want to pick, but I'm gonna like kind of cheap out and be like, you know, Travel Scrabble doesn't have to win this, and Archangel does. Yeah. So Archangel
does.
We'll throw everything at this. So I think I want to take Archangel. But I don't know. Yeah, about halfway through the season, Archangel, my goal was to not be relegated, and then the rest of the season happened, and now I've just given up on life. I have no choice.
You know, not getting relegated is actually super hard in Div 1 now, because
I didn't
not many
last
teams
season.
get to stay there. Yeah.
I missed playoffs by 1 point last season, so I didn't get... If they relegated me, there's something wrong with the system.
Yeah. It's like 6 or so. 5 or 6 people get to stay.
I'm like dead last, man. I'm gonna get relegated. Which is pretty bad. And Voltrex Vanguard versus Grungy Desserts is already played, so we don't need to look at that. So we can move on to 2A.
I don't think I can do this game. Nice one, Travel. 2A, a very, very tight.
Yeah, and a lot of matches have been played, so it's not much to predict here.
You think that's a lot? Like, my division, we played like 5 or 6 matches on Thursday.
I know I'm not allowed to complain about it because it's my fault that we're doing this on Friday instead of Wednesday, but, you know, shh.
At least some of the important ones still have.
So, Rats versus Lizards. Superfed versus Rolling Red. We both predicted Rats because Rats with, you know, lots of inducements are going to do things. This match was being played during the last recap, and Superfed came into the stream and said, things are not going very well for me. And then I looked at the score afterwards, and it was 4-0. So I think he was a liar.
I got to hear a lot about this game on the podcast.
Yeah, he talked about it on the podcast. To be fair, I think it wasn't going well for him in like the first 2 turns because there was just some removals, and then it turned like...
Then Saurus Armor decided to not exist after that, is what he said.
Yep. Well, we had Glart, we had Fez Glitch, that were both available this game. One of his rando line rats that was a loner, 8 MVP, but also was one of the only injuries that happened, the other one being on another loner. Got a level on the movement gutter runner, which is pretty exciting. So either we get a movement or we get sure feet. Like are the two things that you would take on that gutter runner now.
Well, you can't take a movement, so.
Well, if he rolled, oh right, sorry. He has movement.
Gutter runners don't get the luxury of getting extra.
Movement 11, yeah. He doesn't need anything. You just take sure feet. But Superfed, yeah, received 21 armor breaks, gave 9 armor breaks, but those 9 armor breaks turned into 4 casualties and a KO. One of them being on a Croxigor, one being on a Saurus.
A plus armor Saurus.
Plus armor minus armor Saurus.
Plus armor minus armor.
That Saurus is armor busted, yes.
yeah, I remember that one.
So that's a pretty big deal. I mean, Prehensile Tail is a big deal. The Saurus are so important. And 2 skinks, one of them being the Agi skink, means that it was going to be trivial for Superfed to just take the ball off whoever he wanted to, because the skinks are very easy for his wrestle strip gutter runner to take the ball from, and the Saurus are not going to pick it up. So yeah, the armor,
and I mean Marley Brinks.
Yeah,
what more needs to be said?
Yeah, that gutter runner.
So sad. I was so sad when I lost my gutter runner. That was exactly the same player as that.
Yeah,
but,
Leap.
That player's so good.
Agi 5, yeah, it's insane. It's a rat team. It's got like the 3 good players, and that's all you really need. Like, or 4, I guess. Right? He's got the one turner. He's got the like ball recovery threat. He's got the sacker, and he's got the blitzer storm vermin that does his 1 blitz a turn, and that's your team. And it doesn't matter who else is on it. But yeah, he won 4-0. Saurus armor stopped existing, and we just stole the ball and did things whenever we felt like it. The wizard failed again in this match for Superfed, by the way.
Yeah, I know. And he still won 4-0.
Okay. Very, very, very Superfed-y game there. Cogs of War for Orevert and the Charlestown Chiefs from Steer. We had predicted, I believe, that I predicted the lizards and you predicted the dwarfs, and I'm not entirely sure why you did that.
I mean, dwarves are usually pretty good against lizards because you can just kill schemes.
So usually, but these are dwarves that have 2 guard on the entire team.
Yeah.
This is Orevert was my favorite coach in the universe because It's the Coltrane Baby was on this team, which was that that disgusting death roller. If you look at previous players, where is he? There it is. It's a piling on block grab guard multi-block death roller, and he had a bribe stadium and everything, so he'd be like, this whole team was just designed around using that death roller. And then Spoopy Mulder killed it, and we all hate him for it. Bring that up every time.
But do we hate him?
And it left his team kind of in a rough spot because his team was kind of designed around using that death roller, and he doesn't have it anymore. The Charlestown Chiefs are a rebuilding lizard team, but I just figured that there's a lot of strength and the dwarves can't really do anything about it because they don't have any guard. And the lizards 2-0 this. A lot of blocks coming out of the dwarves, getting a lot of armor breaks, but they only translated into 1 skink removal and a couple of KOs, it seems.
Lots of stuns.
Yeah, stun city. And the lizards, what do they do? They got similar, close to the number of blocks, but way fewer armor breaks. But they're dwarves, so
to be expected.
Yeah. They got
blocker and armor bust though. That's kind of sad.
Yeah, the plus movement.
The ones that did hit them were all bad.
Yeah,
like they're all worse.
So yeah, the couple injuries sticking on a team that doesn't have a whole lot of players. Going down players as dwarves, especially when you don't have guard, is just gonna make that game snowball downhill real fast.
There was a chainsaw involved.
Steer really likes his chainsaw. He's taken it in so many games this season, and it looks like it's working out for him. Jimmy Burrito and Yayo, Yield Guard versus Thick, Rich, and Creamy. We predicted that the Nurgle would take this, and it was a tie, so no points there. Speaking of chainsaws, here's Hack and Slash and Wilhelm. 65 blocks from the Nurgle, 21 armor breaks,
That is a lot of blocking.
Becoming 2 KOs and 4 Kaz, and only one of those stuck. So, I feel like this game...
Regen.
Yeah. I think this game should have probably been a 2-1, but regen and the KOs coming back made it more difficult than it should have been. So perhaps a little bit of luck on Jimmy Burrito's side to stay in it. In return, he badly hurt a rot or killed a rotter, which is a thing.
Yeah.
And that was the only Kaz that Ye Old Guard took, so no regen roll at all for them. Level on a white on Sweet Babyville Johnson is a pretty big deal. Because he's a low level white. You'd love to get
a Mighty Blow or something.
Yeah,
Stand
Mighty
Firm,
Blow
maybe.
or Stand Firm or Tackle if you need some more. So I think not taking as much damage as he probably should have for that number of blocks is a big story for that game. Luminous versus Average Joe's Gym, we watched, so we don't need to comment on that. Clicheos and Secret Lizard Overlords. So this is Spoopy, who killed the perspiritually a Spoopy Mauler, who killed the Death Roller. And Big Chuck, we predicted that Big Chuck would win this, and he did.
Yeah, keeping himself relevant in the race for the playoffs.
This is a very close division that we'll see in a few minutes here. He got 3 levels out of this, one of them on a dead Beastman, but at least he was a rookie. But stealing 5 SPP from a team that needs MVPs, frankly, is kind of sad. But Warrior level and a Beastman level on pieces.
He's a legend in his own mind.
Well, he's dead now. And there is, Saurus injury, 3 skink injuries, and one of them was the only skink that's really good. And he had to spend the rest of the game picking up the ball on loner skinks, which is terrifying as lizards.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So the Clicheos not getting ton of blocks, but they did turn that into enough removals to make the difference. 5 Kaz. One of the Mapoed, obviously, but yeah, a lot of Kaz. Pretty standard 2-1 win for a Chaos team where they were able to control the game, whether it be in one half or the other. It made the second touchdown easy. Dark Elves versus the Meanest Greenest Boys. Spoony Bard versus Toawesome. We had predicted that the Orcs would win, and they did. I don't know if you've seen this Orc team before. Have you seen this Orc team?
Yeah, I've seen this Orc team.
It's an Orc team.
It's a little more than an Orc team. It's quite good.
It is so good. We just expect, this is a crazy good elf team. There's 3 guard blitzers, 2 of them are blodge guard. There's the strength up blitzer, both witches are good. Turns out 3 guard elves does nothing against 11 strength 5 orcs. 1, 2, 3 strength 5. There's an agi, 2 agi linemen, there's a movement lineman, there's a
lot of dodge floating around.
Yeah, and only 2 tackle for the Dark Elves. So we just assumed that the Dark Elves would they'd probably be okay on defense as long as they scored quickly. But this is a Dark Elf team that's pretty built to sort of be resilient and do the punchy Dark Elf thing, right? With all the guard and blodge.
Yeah.
Rather than the bullshit elf thing, And
unfortunately, when you rely on all this stuff and then you take 5 Kaz.
Yeah, or try to do that against an orc team that looks like this, it's just not going to work very well. It's these orcs are pretty well suited to dealing with that style of Dark Elf. And they turned it into a bunch of Kaz and, going down 4 players, 2 of them being those important guard pieces is huge. And the Dark Elves were not going to be able to do too much on defense. They're never going to break that orc cage. It's just get in the way and hope.
And then Eldril steals the MVP.
Yeah. So we figured this would go to Awesome, and it did. He got 61 blocks. Turned
also,
5
look at that.
Kaz.
Look at that 5 Kaz, all caused by the same blitzer.
Oh, geez, all 5 of them. Yeah, you got 10 SPP. The piling on Tenacious Green Boy was certainly tenacious. He put in work. And that one of the touchdowns came on one of the Strength 5 orcs to put him 1 SPP away from leveling. Just
That probably was the one that came after all the elves were dead.
Yeah, I feel like turn 12 onward was like that Black Orc marching 4 squares up the field at a time while trying to catch the ball that one of the Agi line orcs was just trying to put into his hands.
Yeah.
Take this. No. Take it. No. For like 4 turns in a row to get that touchdown.
Almost every pylon was a Kaz. Yeah. That helps.
That'll do it. And then we had Brick and Mortar Fiction versus Bring Out Your Undead from Rand. We didn't predict this one because I think it had already been played by the time that we got around to it. But in any case, I don't have a prediction written down, so I don't have any.
Damn, that's big.
Change. It's a
Strength 5
big result.
Yeah, Strength 5 Black Orc blocker biting the bullet.
Oh, the Black Orc just randomly caught the ball in the middle of the game after a sack. So he just walked forward with the Black Orc and just punched his way to the end zone. Okay, I guess this is mine now. That's great. Yeah, so the Fiction, we expected Fiction. I think that we probably would have expected Fiction to take this one. So it's a solid orc team. Like it's very like efficient and it's got all the things that you want on an orc team. But unfortunately, he induced Brick for this one. And Bomber. So throwing some bombs around. Bomber pretty good against Khemri because they can't really intercept it very well or catch at the end of it. And just, hurling a bomb at that like throw rod to knock the ball on the floor makes Khemri's life so much more difficult. Plus, he's just a cheap player. That doesn't really matter. There is a Nuffles altar for Fiction, so he can get Bomber for like 10k. It's nothing.
10k, yeah. Great.
Unfortunately, we tied, and his best Black Orc died, which sucks. He got a Kaz and then died. Strength 5.
It's gonna hurt his chances in the next week, which was a big match.
Yeah, and this week and last week, I think he either tied or lost when we expected him to win, and he was at the top of the table, and he might have dropped himself down quite a bit with these last couple of weeks, which is unfortunate. Similar number of blocks, but and Brick and Mortar actually getting more armor breaks, but they suffered 3 KOs. They suffered no KOs versus Rand's 3, but they suffered 4 Kaz versus Rand's 2, and one of those looks like it got better. So while getting he looks like he just got out removed in some ways. And then but he did manage to turn it into a tie by presumably stopping the Khemri from doing things, stuff like...
I mean, the thing is, like, Khemri, even if they do out-remove you, if it comes too late, then...
It doesn't matter.
They don't really have the speed or the agility to catch up in the game, get the 2-1.
Yeah. Oh, man. The Tomb Guardian with Mighty Blow got 1 Kaz, so now he's 1 SPP away from having more than 1 leveled Tomb Guardian, which is nice. He's got 3 Tomb Guardians that are 1 Kaz away from leveling, so next game could be really big for Rand if he manages to pull that off. All season he's been running around with 1 Tomb Guardian with levels. The other ones have been trying to catch up desperately.
Hard.
Yeah, this team was like 1 Tomb Guardian and a bunch of over-leveled skeletons for a really long time, which is not how you want a Khemri team to be.
No.
So he's had a rough season of it, but he's like 1 or 2 more games and suddenly he could be in a much better spot, right? As soon as those Tomb Guardians get Mighty Blow, they just accelerate like crazy. And then once you get a couple guard Mighty Blow stand firm Tomb Guardians, you are a Khemri team that is rocking and rolling. Because they need those to do things. So it's an unfortunate game for Fiction, both in terms of not getting points and also from losing that Black Orc. And we will see what that does to the standings now. So these if you look at last week, so Fiction tied here, and then last week he lost to Duberman. So now Fiction has actually fallen out of playoff the top playoff spots because of how tight this div was. He was first like 2 weeks ago, and because of how close this div is, suddenly we're down to
I think he was in 4th at the start of this week.
It's also worth noting that like Superved, Rand, Luminous, Big Chuck, Steer, Jimmy Burrito, Rolling Red, and Oververt have played this week, so this leaderboard is kind of difficult to interpret from the point of view of last week.
Yeah. Toawesome and Ficction Toawesome was in the last playoff spot, and then Ficction was in the Challengers Cup spot.
Yeah,
but then Lumi has jumped them.
Yeah, before this Superfed was 23, Lumi was 20, and Big Chuck I think was 20.
23.
I know he was 23.
He was also 23. Yeah, he was up there with Superfed.
So yeah, we had Superfed and Big Chuck up here, Toawesome and Ficction, but because of this week, Lumi has shot ahead of both of them. I don't think nobody is locked here, right? Or no, there's only one game to go. Superfed is
pretty close to lock. Like,
people can still jump. Yeah, because
yeah.
Luminous can get to 26, Big Chuck can get to 26, Toawesome can get to 27
28
or 28.
28. Yeah. And Ficction can get to 27. So like there could still he could even miss the Challengers.
Yeah, I mean it's such a
which
tight
is crazy.
Div.
That's how tight it is.
Like 2 weeks ago, everybody was just on 20 points. Like the top 4 positions were all 20 points. Yeah. It's a real tight race here. Every division that Superfed's in always ends up as a real tight race. I don't know why that happens, but there you go.
I mean, even as far down as Duberman,
yeah,
Duberman can still get to 25 points, which is playoff spot.
I think I'm too lazy to look at all the next week's matches, frankly, to see who plays who, because that's going to heavily factor into where people can end up. Because
I know that there is one big one.
I think Luminous has Luminous plays Ficction, which is a big one next week on week 13.
Oh, and the following. Yeah. This week we have the big orc.
Yeah, Toawesome and Ficction is a big one this week. Then Luminous and Big Chuck, who's also an important one this week, which has already happened, which is why Luminous is up here.
Lumi Fiction the following week. Yeah, there's a bunch of the top players all play each other basically.
So Luminous was like in 6th or 7th like 2 weeks ago, but his last 4 weeks have all been up against like so he played Duberman, and then he played Big Chuck, and then he has Ficction, and he's got a lot of the big matches for him are right now. So he can catapult and did catapult pretty seriously. Like anybody's division right now, right? There's 6 people who could easily be in a playoff spot, and
3 spots.
Yeah, and even
6 people, 3 spots.
And even the person in first with 1 week to go could just get kicked out of playoffs. There's 1 week left, and if he loses, who's Superfed play the last week? That's very important, I think.
Toawesome.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, there you go.
All the art food.
Yeah, so if Toawesome has already if Toawesome wins this week, he goes to 25, and then if he wins against Superfed, he goes to 28, and Superfed stays at 26, and then Luminous and Big Chuck, so it would have to get to 26, but then Superfed would still be ahead because he's got a huge TD diff. It's I think the TD diff
it's
keeps
very
him in there.
Hard for Superfeds to lose out to not make it because of the TD diff, but
yeah,
there is a world where he can
26 25 or 28, and then I don't think he can because of the TD diff. Is there?
If both Lumi and Big Chuck, I don't know. It's really hard.
Lumi and Big Chuck.
It's theoretically possible, but physically probably.
Yeah, like he's. I don't know if mathematically he's locked, but he's functionally locked. But anyway, that's such.
Well, I guess Fiction could get up there maybe.
Because Ficction could go to.
But then Toawesome wouldn't. Yeah, it's hard because Toawesome and Ficction play each other.
It all comes down to looking at the individual matchups and seeing who plays who to figure out what the possibilities of point distributions are. And I'm way too lazy to figure that out. So let's just move on. Speaking of these matches, there's only 3 to predict. So we've got 2130 orcs versus 1660 orcs.
Orc inducements are not. They have a couple good star players, but yeah, this is gonna be a tough one.
It is gonna be a tough one, and it's super important for both of them if they want to make playoffs. So Ficction is in chat, and he says he's fine if he makes nothing, leaning pretty hard on rerolling. So maybe there's not a crazy amount of motivation to win this from him.
I also think Toawesome's team is just a lot better than Fiction's, especially with the 1 strength 5 Black Orc that Fiction did have getting killed.
Yeah, so he's the strength 5 Black Orc is out, and he's missing a guard blitzer. So he's gonna have 3 guard, and it's all on Black Orcs, or 4 guard, and it's all on Black Orcs and Trolls. So it's not exactly mobile. Whereas we have 3 blitzer guard that can go in more important places. I like how stressed Green Boy is just a shitty Black Orc now. He's movement 4. He's a movement 4 block guard, dodge, stand firm blitzer.
He's a strength busted Black Orc with good skills.
Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, I mean, on paper, Toawesome's team is probably just better right now.
But it's not anywhere near an easy match because
no, not at all.
Inducements could do stuff.
Inducements could certainly do stuff. I mean, there's a dirty player lineman, and we can get like 3 bribes and just be like, anytime he sends someone to the floor, we just send orcs.
Bribes and chainsaws, right?
Yeah, bribes and chainsaws or whatever. Like, there's a lot of options, and I think it really comes down to if like Fiction is willing to go all out to try to win it, and I'm not 100% sure if he is, because I think he's committed to rerolling. So I'll take.
We definitely know that Toawesome's going to be committed to winning this because he has a very good shot at being into playoffs.
Yeah, so I think on the back of that and the team difference, I'm going to take Toawesome. But Fiction could win this, frankly. But
yeah, I mean, he could try to play spoiler basically, and he can still make the playoffs.
That's true.
Like, let's not count that out.
But I'll take Toawesome. Are you gonna do something similar? Or
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna stick with the big orcs on this one.
That's fair. And it's
don't think the inducements are gonna do enough.
If the like playoff prediction competition has taught us anything, you can be better than average at predicting match results by just taking the bigger TV team.
Yeah,
you can do better than a coin flip by just taking the bigger TV, and more often than not you're right, which is a little sad, but that's how Blood Bowl works apparently. So Secret Lizard Overlords and color equals FF000000 Dark Elves. 1610 Lizards, 1770 Dark Elves. I mean, so this is a lizard team with 5 Saurus. One of them doesn't have block, 1 good skink, versus a Dark Elf team with guard and also like Mighty Blow strength.
Blow strength.
It's 2 like broken teams.
He's also got diving tackle on a Blodge Stepper, which is going to be big against skinks.
Especially when Spoopy relies, his whole team is that 1 movement skink. He I've seen him play this season a couple times, and pretty much every time he just tries to fast score with like a sideline cage from that movements 9 sidestep skink. And I don't think that's going to work against those Dark Elves. And the Dark Elves are frankly going to be able to bully the Saurus a little bit, or like bully the lizards a little bit, because they outguard them, weirdly enough.
They outguard them, yeah. So, well, equal.
Is it equal?
Yeah, I think they both have 3. Proc score.
So we do get. No, we don't actually, and we're not even in range to get Slibbly, right?
Slibbly, yeah, no.
So we're gonna have to play with 5 Saurus, one of them without block. That puts things in the Dark Elves' court for me.
Go skink hunting with Jet.
Yeah, we can skink hunt. We can block pretty much whatever Saurus we want with that guard. There's never going to be a strength problem. We're never going to be able to oh man, I can't get a block there because we've got 3 Blodge Step guard players, or 2 Blodge Step guard players and 1, grab guard player, which helps with the 1 turn without movement 8 Witch Elf. So I think I like the Dark Elves. The lizards don't have the things they need to make the Dark Elves' lives hard, which is how you win against the Dark Elves.
Yeah, and Spoonie is an incredibly good coach too.
That's very true. Spoonie and Spoopy.
Nothing against his opponent, but Spoonie has proven it time and time again.
So you're gonna take Spoonie Bard?
Oh yeah, this one's not looking. The matches that we do get to predict are not very close.
That's fair. And then Yayo
next one,
versus
maybe.
Duberman. We've got 2040 Nurgle, although they're carrying like 80k in cash.
This is your classic big Nurgle team versus Elves with a Wizard.
Pretty much. The problem is it's Elves with a Wizard that don't have like an unfair agi piece.
Yeah.
So it's 11 player Elves that, I mean, they get 300 something because I assume Yayo is going to spend some of that money. And they get 300 something versus the Nurgle. When it comes like, so the other thing is that the Nurgle only have one tackle. So
yep.
I don't know, frankly. I have no idea. So Elves of the Wizard can do Elves with a Wizard thing. They've got a movement 9, so like a 1 turning is possible, although 1 turning is pretty hard against Nurgle if they set up well for it. There's a good amount of guard from the Nurgle. There's some claw, but they don't really have much claw mighty blow. They've got 3 and only 1 of them is attached to tackle. And it doesn't have piling on. So like, well, we're not going to be able to like remove an elf a turn or anything. Like we'll get a couple removals because they're Nurgle, but we're not going to like, there's no world in which this elf team comes out dead.
There's
right?
only one good carrier either too. So you can't do that whole like carry on someone else to avoid the wizard play type of thing.
Yeah, so
some Nurgle teams do.
Yeah, it looks like you look at those TVs and you go Nurgle, but I think this is like relatively difficult for the Nurgle. Like this is not a match I'd want to play as those Nurgle. And I think the other big thing is, like I said, Duberman can make the playoffs here, and Yayo can't. So I think I'm gonna cheer for those Highelves, mostly because I think it would be funny if they did really well and made the top of the div table really messy for everybody, because I think that's hilarious. But also, Elves with inducements against Nurgle that only have 1 tackle and only 1 real ball carrying option could spell disaster if the Elves get lucky, basically.
And just to be fun, I'll pick the Nurgle in this one. See them get all those Kaz early and
then just
control
win.
The low number of Elves that are left on the pitch.
Yeah, that would make their life.
I hate it when it happens, but it does happen sometimes, and I've lost games like that.
Yeah, if the Nurgle will get removals. If they come on turn 12, they're irrelevant. If they come on turn 2, they could win the game for you, right?
Yeah.
So
right.
if they happen early, there you go. Well, that's going to be that. I'll bring up the main screen. That was really fun. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, it was fun. I love talking Blood Bowl when it comes to the playoff time too, because we're going to see all these games coming up soon. Yeah, everything's so tight too. It's always good when there's a good race near the end of the season.
Yeah, two weeks to go, and then we're in playoffs, right? And one of the weeks is currently underway. So
yeah, I know, it's so soon. It's almost like we're gonna get. I mean, I love the fact that it's gonna be.
I'm very hyped.
And everyone. So I'm actually gonna make an announcement on this.
Go ahead.
But I'm gonna have to tell people to try to schedule their games a little. Not all on the first day. Like I know these last couple weeks have been. Everyone's at home and have all the free time in the world right now, but let's try not to overload all the casters on the first night of playoffs.
It is helpful. Having done it last season and every season with the Challengers Cup since then, week 1 of playoffs is 2 64-man bracket, well 61 and 64 person brackets, right? So that's 64 matches, slightly less. But roughly
slightly less, yeah.
But roughly 60-esque matches in 1 week that all have to be casted, and
I still have my a picture that I took of the
calendar?
The Google Calendar. Yeah,
that
it was just solid color.
That first week is a nightmare for casters. So like, please.
Oh, it's both a nightmare and amazing.
Yeah, like there's so much
Some of the
to
most fun we have, but. Oh man,
sometimes
it's gonna be awesome.
Sometimes it's hard. So like, please give your casters some slack. There's going to be some people who are going to be up till like crazy hours of the night casting several games in a row just to like make sure they all get casted. So please, especially after this first week, give them some slack and thank your friendly neighborhood caster, because they're putting in a lot of work for that first week. And Yes, we have 2 weeks left. This one's underway, so 2 more div reviews from us, and then into playoffs. I'm so hyped. I love Red About Now. Like we said, like it's so much fun to watch the red names slowly start showing up in Discord.
Yes, slowly start showing up Discord.
People get all hyped when they're like, "Yes, got it locked," and you like suddenly their name turns red. Oh, I love playoffs. I'm super excited.
I'm happy that I'm able to do it now, though. I suddenly have power.
Oh yes, I can do it too.
Because my color is above red.
I don't know what color do you have?
I'm bright green. I'm
the sports reporter one.
I'm head reporter.
Oh right, yeah. There you go.
Because I'm running the REL recaps.
I could do it. I could do it because of Rookie League admin.
Yeah.
For some reason, but
yeah. It's fun. All the colors coming up is fun.
It's super fun, and I'm super hyped for playoffs. I hope you guys are hyped for playoffs. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back next Wednesday, assuming I remember that it's actually Wednesday. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Thanks again to T-Self for being on the show instead of Shadorra. We will see you next time, and until then, I've been Steakmittens, and he's been T-Self. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.